All right. What's going
Struggle.
on?
The struggle is real.
What's going on? What's up, babe?
Mm.
Let's make sure that
What's
everything
up?
looks good so far.
I'm good. I'm good.
All right. What's going on? All right, good. We're live. What's going on Instagram? What's going on Facebook, YouTube? What going on? Today we're talking about sex. Once per 3 weeks. Is she wicked me? What's up, babe? What's up?
Chilling.
Is she wicked me? Let's start with you. 3 to 4 weeks on an
Once every
average.
3 to 4 weeks. So like once in a month.
Mm-hmm.
Sex.
One in almost every month. Once per every almost a month.
Okay. So are we ruling out that she might have some medical condition?
This conversation is beyond the scope of medical issues. So we're not talking about people with medical conditions. We're not talking about people that are not in committed relationship where they live together.
Mm.
We're also not talking about marriages where husband lives in another town entirely, and he has to go and come every other weekend. We're not talking about those kind of situations. We're talking about you live together,
Mm-hmm.
marriage or committed relationship,
Mm-hmm.
and you live together, and both of
Mm-hmm.
you subscribed to a committed relationship. Yep, that's what we're talking about.
Okay.
So if you want to chime in,
Once every month.
hmm
I don't know. That's very. For me, I feel like there's more to the. I mean, people say, oh, they're busy, so
right,
sometimes they don't have time for sex. But I feel like if it's someone that you're attracted to, in tune with, sometimes you just want to touch each other. So for me,
right.
once a month, that's serious. So we have to talk about it.
So something is wrong.
For me
So
personally,
what do you? Okay.
something is wrong.
So do you think it's wickedness or weakness?
It doesn't have to be wickedness. It could be a weakness. It could be a weakness because, again, you have to. Since we're talking about is she wicked me? If we're talking
Right.
about, let's talk about us being Nigerians now,
Mm-hmm.
right? Nigerians, I don't know. We are kind of sexually awkward.
Right.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
our society does not promote sex at all. In fact, if you express yourself
Mm-hmm.
just looking sexy, you are an ashewo,
Right.
you are an olosho, you are not encouraged. A female, like a woman is not encouraged to, showcase her femininity
Okay.
however she wants. Everything is tagged to you're an ashewo.
If you show
So
femininity,
yes, so sex for us,
elaborate.
I feel like I can only use myself as an example. Growing up, I
Mm-hmm.
didn't have any sex education.
Okay.
The way I found out about sex, it was just, for me, it was awkward. Okay,
What do you mean
I
by awkward?
okay. So when I was in high school, a couple of my, schoolmates, like my sets, like friends, some of them were already having sex.
Right.
Some of them knew what they were doing. For me, I was such a late bloomer. I didn't know crap about sex. In fact, uh, I matured quickly. So,
Okay.
I'm like I my books came out real quick.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember at the time my mom was actually asking me, shorten by a funny, and I was so
Huh?
confused.
Wait, wait,
So
wait.
why she would ask me such
Shorten by
a,
a funny.
yeah, like, why is
She
your
was trying to
boob
have the
growing up?
conversation.
What, it was such an awkward thing. Like, she didn't even talk to me. I didn't start wearing bra in a good time.
Uh-huh.
I was wearing bra tops.
Right.
So whenever we're in school and we're doing PE,
Hmm.
I was one of those girls that would do this and run because I knew that at the point I was supposed to be wearing a bra, but my mom was in denial because I was
You were growing too fast.
a 13-year-old, and she just wouldn't acknowledge that, it's time to start wearing bra, not bra tops. Bra tops can hold my boobs.
So you were growing too fast for the innocent woman. Hello?
Well, it's not my fault that I'm growing too fast. So I had to deal with that, I had to deal with that awkwardness.
Mm-hmm.
And it took a time. I felt like it was like pulling teeth. How about when I started having my period?
Right. Again, you're going too fast.
For me, okay, one day I just noticed that there was blood coming out. And to me, I felt like I had a wound down there. And I didn't understand what was going on. And then I told my mom, and she just told me, you are now a woman.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean? Like, you have to explain. Like, I'm a young girl. I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
How did you interpret that?
She just told me
that. How did you interpret that? She said,
I was confused.
You were confused.
And I asked, what do you mean? And she was like, when boys, you can't allow boys to touch you.
Mm-hmm.
If boys touch you, you get pregnant.
Yep.
And then I went to school and literally I was running away from boys. Like, you have to have this conversation with your kids. You can't just tell them one silly stuff or one thing and expect them not to ask questions. And that's how, I don't know for every other woman, but for me, that was where I was coming from. So that was very, very strange to me. So by the time I graduated high school,
right,
and I went to college, of course, by the time I went to specialist schools because I had to get my GED done, right, So there was this it's like a pre-campus kind of thing.
Okay.
It's called specialist schools, and I went to one in Ogba at that time.
Right.
At that time, I was already discovering myself. I wanted to wear mini skirts, get my nails done. Actually, I started getting my nails done because my parents put us on an allowance, so that made me buy things for myself. But even in that Ogba, by the time a young girl is dressed up and she's just walking out, there are people looking at you like you are some kind of ashawo. Because you are in tune with fashion trends, because you like to do makeup, because you like to get your nails done, you're already getting judged. And then when I eventually entered Obafemi Awolowo University, I was already a rebel on my own because I felt like, every time you try to express yourself,
right, okay, and
the reaction was crazy. I think it was just like 3 of us in the OAU that dyed their hair. People literally, one woman, I was going to UI to visit my cousin. So during the weekend when I don't have anything to do, I go to UI to visit my cousins.
Right.
And I took the bus, and when I got to Ibadan, coming out of that downfall bus, the woman was like, hey, and I was like, what? Because I have my hair dyed red, mean I'm an ashawo. I'm trying to explain to how our people react to certain things and why, we can be awkward as human beings, being a Nigerian. And to me, that just made me more of a rebel. Like, I'm like, fuck all those people. This is how you see me just because I want to have color in my hair. Imagine people have been dyeing their hair in America forever.
Right.
And it doesn't mean anything. Even our 12-year-old son wants some color in his hair. And for us to be branded, I was branded Ashawo, but I didn't care. I went back to school. I would go out, I would club, I would dress however I liked. But my point is, why am I saying this is, there's certain conversations that we don't have. That is very awkward.
Okay, we don't have. Let's start with
we don't have it as Nigerians, or we see ourselves as holistic kind of people. So for me,
holy, not holistic. Holiness. You're talking about holiness.
Okay, holy, basically. So because I dyed my hair and I would wear whatever I like, people assumed I was already having sex, and then I wasn't even having sex at all. I was still a virgin. But I attracted a number of guys that walk up to me and say, they want to take me out. And the minute they take me out, they are thinking, oh, maybe we're gonna get a freak on because she looks like she's a
So
freak.
they say that out.
No, they
How
don't
do
say
they say
that
that?
out. They
Because
don't
if you
say
don't
that
say,
out,
if
but
you don't
it's
say
their
how they say that,
expectation.
it's
So when they
confusing.
want to have sex with you and you say, no, I'm not ready for sex, I'm a virgin, they get confused. Like, what do you mean you're a virgin? Look at you. Your hair is red. Look at what you're wearing, blah, blah, blah. And you've never had
So
sex.
let me ask you a question.
It's so
So
weird.
today, if God forbid, like let's say you were single, right? And then you were and the gentleman is asking you, basically they're kind of expressing maybe non-verbally that they want to get down that day, right? And then they go like, you're a virgin. How would you interpret that? Well, how would
It's
you
not.
respond
It's
to
not
that?
about being a virgin. It's about me. Even if I wasn't a virgin, I'm not ready to have sex. Can you respect that?
How would you respond to me if I'm showing that I'm touching your body, I'm like sniffing your neck, you can tell that I'm horny, and you're not ready for that?
I will tell you that I'm not ready.
Okay.
And that actually.
And if I now assume that you were already with Bao, how would you respond to that?
I don't know. Because when I will tell you, I had relationships that I lost back then as a young girl because I wasn't ready to have sex. And these guys were like, oh, you don't want to have sex. And then you want to be in a relationship.
How old you, to be fair, how old were you?
I was 18.
Okay, yeah. I mean, if you're 18, guys that you were probably trying to date at that point in time, they're just honey.
Exactly. I'm not judging them that they are honey,
Okay, all right.
but I mean, I'm not ready to have sex. It's okay for you to walk away. That's fine. You're the one chasing me. Yes. Okay. Actually, one walked away, then came back and begged and wanted to come back in the relationship. And I was like, no, I'm not interested anymore. What's the point? You're still going to pressurize me for sex. And I'm not ready to give you what I want. So for me, that was now becoming a pressure for me and a burden for me.
Right.
So leaving Nigeria, I left Nigeria when I was 20, right? Got here when I was 20 and started working at this clothing store. And all the girls there were talking about sex. It was very
just talking about it. Okay.
Like young girls, oh my God,
for you as so a Nigerian girl right off the boat.
Yes, I was like, what? You're talking about sex like that? Like, it's so cute. They will tell the guy, oh, you're so cute. I wonder who he's working with. They were talking openly about everything. And to me, I was
you're not used to that.
I'm like,
you were not used to that.
Wow, this is how people talk over here. And they were sharing their experiences, right? These girls, of course, I hang out with them. That's how I get to know what they're talking about.
Right.
And, eventually.
These were your new friends, basically.
Yes, we work together. So we'll go out for drinks and stuff like that. So one day, one of them asked me, oh, Lola, you never share when it comes to sexual, conversation.
Yeah, like, what are you up to?
And I was
what do you like? What are you doing at home? What do you do in your leisure time? That's what they want to know. They want to know.
Yeah. And I was like, well, I don't really have experience in that, area yet. Oh my God, they started laughing at me. I was so
they shame
shocked.
you. So they shame you for.
I felt shamed. So,
you felt shamed or you didn't feel shamed?
I felt shamed.
How would you feel shamed?
Because I already feel like it's a burden on me. Remember, I told you a lot of my friends
too
were already having sex.
Right.
And anytime I even asked them, how was it? They were like, was okay. And I'm like, what's the point of this? It was okay. So why should I hurry to have sex if it's not fun?
Yeah, but I mean, that goes to tell you that the enjoyment in sex itself is not the physical.
Right.
Just enjoyment in sex in general. It's not necessarily the physical aspect of it.
Right.
But a lot of people try to make it that it's about how good you are in bed. Right. To an extent, yes. But for the most part, especially in committed relationship and marriage, after a while, it's gonna need to be more than just you can bang someone against the wall. It needs to be a little bit more than that.
Right.
You need to be able to stimulate them mentally?
So they were
Before
giving,
and after.
they were already telling me that it's bleh. Now, for me,
You say bleh, like it's not
like
it's nothing to write home about.
there's
It's not a
no
big deal.
You know, some of them are honest. They were
Mhm.
honest with it. And for me, when I was 19 years old,
Right.
okay,
Mhm.
I already experienced an orgasm by myself.
Mm.
How did I experience that?
Mm.
Okay, one day I was in the bathroom and I realized that I touched something that felt good.
Right.
And I kept touching and I kept touching. And then, you know,
oh no,
I had an orgasm.
You kept touching,
I was
Jesus.
like, wow. So for me, I was thinking that, okay, by the time you start having sex, this is how it's always going to be. You're going to have an orgasm. It's going to be fantastic. Oh, this is why people are having sex.
You had that expectation.
I had that expectation also. Okay. Oh. But I was still not mentally ready for it.
Right.
So when my friends tell me was, I'm like, now, wow, like maybe it depends on who you're with.
Right.
And then when I came here and people were expressing how good sex feels, I was like, well, maybe it's about time I lose my virginity. So I told myself, I said, okay, my 21st birthday is coming. So I'm going to make sure.
You set it on the calendar.
Yes, I did. I am going to lose my virginity. I don't care how. I'm just going to lose it. And when I lost my virginity, I was so disappointed. All my expectation, what I thought sex was, oh my God, came crashing down.
And then you give up on sex. You said you never have sex again in your life.
And then I
let me ask you a question.
I didn't give up on sex, but I kind of withdrew a little bit from.
So now let me ask you a question now. Since it was such a disappointment, why didn't you just say, I will never do this again?
Because I'm always like, I like to look at things based on who you're with. So because someone hurt my feelings, doesn't make every other person a bad person. So I give people benefit of the doubt and just hope for the best, which was basically.
You give people. We're not about people. We're talking about sex.
I give my next relationship a benefit of doubt. Like, no, you know, I get to know people. I hope for the best. I think I'm kind of a hopeless romantic. I believe in love. I believe in relationships.
Wait. Slow down.
I do believe in love.
I'm trying to get to the bottom of why you were still open to having sex, despite the fact that it was disappointing. It wasn't about the person. You said you set on a calendar. It was just time whoever you were seeing as basically happened by the time you were 21st. Okay, by the time you were 21 years old. Okay, so, and then you were disappointed. Again, we're not talking about the person. We're talking about sex itself as a thing, right?
No, I was disappointed. I felt like the person I was with didn't know what the hell they were doing. Yes.
Okay, so you still trusted that sex is going to be good. That's the point I was trying to drive.
That's what I'm saying.
You still trusted that sex is going to be good at some point. It's just this person they don't know. They didn't know what they were doing, right?
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Just wanted to get that out. All right. Good. All right. So now let's bring it back to the topic. You said all that to say sex once for 3 to 4 weeks. Is she wicked? Are you saying that's why women?
I think it depends on where the person is coming from. You know, if you don't even know what sex is, if you don't even know how you feel when you have sex, if you don't even know what makes you aroused, like how to help your partner satisfy you, you're not gonna like having sex. I know people that said they've never had an orgasm in their life. Why should they have sex? It feels like a chore to them.
So let's blame it on orgasms. Is that what you're saying? That
I'm not saying every case, so I'm just saying
but
it's
potentially one of them.
Yes. Depends on who you are with too.
A situation where a person they on an average for the past 6 months to a year, they go 3 to 4 weeks, she withholds sex. You're saying that one of them could be how should we identify the story you just told? Are you saying is the awkward energy or awkward identity that we attach to sex? Is that what you're saying?
For me.
Yeah, for you, we're saying if you're like that, there's a chance that other people out there like that.
There are probably people like me.
Especially
that's why I said I'm talking about Nigeria now, for example, because Nigeria and America is two different worlds. It's two different worlds.
Right.
Like people in this country, I'm like kids. Some kids start having sex from 9-year-old. Some maybe 13, maybe later on. Different, but they are aware. They know what sex is. They are aware of sex education. They teach them these things, and some parents, because I don't know if it's all parents, some parents actually teach their kids too about sex education. But for me, where we're coming from, I didn't get none of that. No one told me
the sex
what
education.
no,
You didn't learn about the birds and the bees.
No, I didn't learn about the birds and the bees. I didn't learn about I didn't know anything about sex. I was clueless. I was clueless. When I was in school and I saw some of my mates engage in that, it was very strange for me. In my head, I was like, what are they doing? Why are they doing that? But
yeah.
I'm a late bloomer too. I consider myself a late bloomer when it comes to stuff like that.
So we will classify, there are two categories. There's wickedness and there's weakness. The story you just gave us basically says it's a weakness. But I'm trying to connect the dots. Because if she's coming from that place where people don't have by the way, a lot of Black Americans went through the same thing.
Oh, wow.
Because they call it the silent generation. So, I find it cute when Nigerians start to think that everything is about them. The only thing that's different from people to people is how we navigate from where we are to the solution. But it's really the same solution that we're all looking for.
Yeah, but there's some society, there's some countries, like, for example, when I was in high school, I met this girl, she's Cuban, and she was telling me how, she's known about sex all of her life since she was a little girl. Apparently in Cuba, flirting and, showing yourself up in a sexy way is embraced. Like, it's not a big deal, No one's going to call you a hoe for just wearing a body hug.
Right.
Whereas in Nigeria, if your outfit is too tight, you have a crop top on, you're an ashawo just by looking at you.
Okay.
And to be honest, when I was in OAU, I know people that were wearing dalamere and man, they were smashing.
What's
like the old ninja outfit.
What's ninja outfit?
The Muslim outfit, it's not based like on how covered you are.
Oh, like a woman.
Yeah.
Oh, you're saying a woman that's fully sexually active, but they wear the old Muslim thing.
And you just hear just like, oh my God, that girl is so bad in bed and stuff like that. I'm like, huh?
Hey, because
they're having sex, like,
because people are people. That's the reality of it at the end of the day. People are going to be people. And, you're absolutely correct that it's different from places to places, but specifically, precisely what's different is understanding where people are coming from. So you can help them get to the same things that we all want.
Right.
In this regard, this will be love or connection. Or if you're young, it's not really love and connection, it's significance. When you're young, like the story you told, when you're like your late teenage years and your friends are having it, you want to feel like you're doing to a certain level. That's what they call peer pressure, right?
Yes.
You start to feel funny.
Yes.
That's significance. You don't want to feel insignificant.
You feel like, am I the only one? Am I weird? In fact, just having a boyfriend just because everyone has a boyfriend.
Exactly. That's what people do.
Yeah.
The younger the ages go, the more it's like that. But the older you get, you realize that you don't care about other people's validation,
right?
a.k.a. significance. You care about emotions. You want to connect with somebody,
right?
You want to feel connection to a person,
right?
And if that connection is not valid, you see people very quickly change who they're having sex with or stop having sex with you. So if sex is really what they want, they can go in the market and buy sex
and get sex. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
But the reason why relationships and committed relationships and marriage is not a transactional thing like we like to try to make it out to be is because we need more than just sex. In fact, I was in a clubhouse room yesterday where some girl just blabbed out. Some girl who's an influencer who people actually follow. She just went straight and marriage isn't marriage about sex. I said, no, it's not. Marriage is not about sex.
It's not about
sex. Is a symptom. Let me see here. It's a symptom of other underlying things that's going on in a relationship.
Right.
If you don't feel connected to a person, it doesn't matter if you're a man or woman.
Yeah.
You won't want to have sex. The only thing is that for a man, it's just a momentary thing. Doesn't mean I don't want to have sex with you tomorrow.
Right.
For a typical man, for a typical lady, it may mean they're disconnected from you, and it may affect things and start going down that hill.
Because actually, for women, I mean, I know for me, if you're not treating me right, if we're not connected, like if you're not making me feel special, or you're just talking down to me, I wouldn't want to sleep with you. Right. Like, I don't know how to have casual sex.
So there are 4 things I want us to talk about, that I want us to touch on. The one you just mentioned, I want us to talk about that. If you're a woman and you feel like you're losing connection for whatever reason, it could be the example you just gave, somebody talks down on you. It could be you argue a lot. It could be completely external force, like just the place where you are as a person. You just don't. You're not in that space. You're not in that space. If you're stressed out, right?
You're stressed out. Yes.
You may not want to do that, even though typical men, right? The other angle is a typical man when they're stressed out. For me, if I'm stressed out, what I want to have is sex. Okay, so now, the first angle is you feel disconnected. You've tried to communicate it clearly. Words are not working. Talking is not working, right? The other person is not hearing you out. There's disconnection. The second one is, I'm the man on this side. I feel like I'm doing everything in my power to make you feel safe, to make you feel secured. But somebody is working against me. You're disconnected. Now I have blue balls. I'm sexually frustrated. So that's one angle of it, right? Or the third aspect, and I want us to talk about that together. The third aspect is, in fact, I'm the man and I don't feel connected to my wife. Maybe because she just had a baby. I heard that example in Clubhouse yesterday. She just had a baby and he's not attracted. And he actually took the time to explain to the girl, like, it's just where am I right now? I'm stressed out at work, this and that. For a whole year, the girl did not get any.
Oh my God.
And we want to talk about that too. So even coming from a man who is withholding sex.
Right? But he explained himself. He communicated to his wife.
Yes. Right. But the reason why it came up as a conversation was because clearly that didn't feel good to her. Right. So I want us to talk about that as the third one. The fourth one is, if a woman is the one who is withholding, right? But she doesn't really understand why. And she can't identify it as, I'm disconnected from my husband, because she feels like she loves her husband, but she can't understand it. So I want us to kind of like try to touch on all of those angles. But let's start with the one that you mentioned.
The connection one.
The connection. You feel disconnected from your husband. What's the best way to handle that, in your opinion? Because you're in a committed relationship or a marriage and you live together, right? What do you advise?
So if you have a partner who pays attention,
he doesn't pay attention. Let's assume he doesn't.
He doesn't pay attention.
Yeah. Let's deal with you. This is you. What are you gonna do about it? You're in a committed situationship. The easy thing, I'll tell you what the easy thing is to do. Okay? The easy thing is just to shut down and just leave it as is. And just assume and normalize, and this is how it is. It is what it is. That's the easiest thing to do. We just get comfortable. After all, we'll live together. Right? The next easiest thing to do is probably like, I guess we're not connected, we're not compatible. And exit the situation, right?
Yes.
It's not easy, but it's a lot harder than the first one, which is just to sit down there and be in a toxic situation. Right?
Or you can just tell yourself, is it food? Some people.
If you're coming from the place that you just said, where the sex education you had was not educated, right? You may find yourself saying, is it food? Again, normalizing it, right? So let's deal with you. Let's leave him alone. You've committed. You subscribed to this relationship. What would you advise yourself? Well, let me say, what would you do before you know what you know today? What would you do before?
What would I do before?
Yeah, and then we'll talk about what the right thing to do.
If I had a...
You had me, you feel disconnected, you don't want to have sex with me. Your old self. No, be truthful now, because people need to understand that they're not alone.
What I did in that time was masturbate a lot.
Okay.
That's what I did.
Okay.
to
And
get
now,
off.
how did that help?
How did it help me get off? But it does not help me.
No. So when I say, how did that help? Come on, baby. When I say, how did
What to me?
It made you feel
and it's not. And that,
is it our internet that's acting up?
no, that can be our internet too. Our internet is
frozen.
really solid right now.
How do you know?
Because I've not experienced what we experienced in the past few weeks.
Oh, I don't know.
And my internet is on right now.
Let's just make sure that we're live first.
It's good.
If you can hear me, if you comment,
Let
that
me
will
try to
help us
sign
know
in.
that we're live. Okay.
Yeah. No, my internet is good.
Okay, and we're on the Wi-Fi.
Yes.
Okay.
Wait, are you on the Wi-Fi?
No, we're back.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. Yes. So if you're with someone that is not willing to, you don't want to get help together, let's work on our marriage. I mean, of course, you'll be in a space where you feel like you're all alone and it's not a relationship for you. Some people can stay in that relationship and just keep.
So that's
going.
what you would. That's what you did back then.
But for me,
right,
it's very important for me to have connection with my husband because my husband is.
And if you don't have connection with your husband,
friend.
what would you do about it? Because remember, you subscribed. Now today, we've heard about what you would do when you didn't know any better, right? Or what you did, right? Today, now knowing what you know, what would you do? Knowing that you subscribed to the relationship, just like he did, right? He's falling short, but again, all you can control is yourself. You can influence him, but you can control yourself, because if you try to control him,
it's not going to work.
It will come. It will work against what you're trying to accomplish, right? Because if he doesn't know what to do with your feelings now, who told you he's going to know what to do when it comes to responding to you?
Right.
If he doesn't know what to do with your feelings yet, there's a good chance he won't know how to respond to feeling attacked.
Right.
Because if you come to him because there's a good chance you won't know how to express that too. If you come to him and say, I just don't feel connected, that comes off as an attack. He will receive it as an attack, even though that's not your intention, right? So knowing what you know today now, and knowing that you have power, what would you do?
Well, like you said, I will have to influence him if I really care about the relationship.
What does that mean? How do you?
I'll have to use my own power. Obviously, I'll have to keep investing in myself. I will do what I do, like I would. There are ways to get someone to be curious about you. Don't hunt them down. Don't chase them down. You have to put on the mystery factor. Like, let them be curious about what's going on with you, instead of sitting them down and having a conversation over and over.
That was the. To be honest with you, I lost my train of thought earlier. Yeah. That's like the fourth situation, but you just derailed off of the actual situation we're talking about. The actual situation is that you said you lost connection.
Okay.
If you didn't lose connection, but you're just looking for his attention, that's what you just described.
Yes.
Right. But this time, you're the one that's not giving the attention. Is the one that has the blue balls.
So what would I do?
Yeah, what would you do? The only thing you are left with is the commitment you committed to.
Then if he's the one chasing me down, that means he's willing to have a conversation. We'll have to talk about it.
Okay, let's assume that. Good.
No, we'll have to talk about it. We'll have to talk about why I feel the way I feel.
What does that look like? Talk to me. Like, if you were talking to me and you're feeling like you're disconnected, how would you communicate that? You're talking about communication.
Right.
How would you communicate that? You'll come to me and say,
I'll be like, babe, I don't like what you're doing. This is what's going on. This is how I'm feeling. And
what do you mean this is how you're feeling? What about how I'm feeling? How about all those bills that I pay? I mean, I don't know what you want me to do. What do you want me to do? Now, how would you respond to that?
I'll walk away. That's what I would do.
Oh, so we didn't accomplish anything.
Because in that moment, if I keep explaining myself, you're not ready to listen. So the best thing I can do, and me being me, you know me. I have to.
We're not talking about you. We're talking about the higher you.
Okay.
You already told me what you would do.
I will walk away.
You will take care of yourself.
I have to.
And then,
I have to
and
walk
then
away
the
from that
relationship will
situation.
derail. We already know what you would do.
No. That was back in the days.
Yeah.
Even now,
Yeah.
I would walk away for a minute, let
Right.
you process whatever I just said.
Right.
Walk away.
Okay.
And then come back and try
Okay.
to talk about it.
Okay. So try to talk about it again.
In a lighter mode.
Okay.
In a lighter mode. So I would like, for me, I feel like sex doesn't have to be a chore. If it has to be a chore, then it's not. What's the point? If I have to sleep with you
That's
and
a
not
good question.
enjoy
What's
it,
the point? Let me
what's
ask
the
you.
point? We should be enjoying it together. And me enjoying it makes you happy.
Right.
So,
But
what do you mean?
No, you enjoying it makes me happy.
Yeah.
Got that.
So if we're not having
But
that
what?
kind of sex, we can't be having sex.
Yeah, we know that. You lost connection. And you already tried to have conversation with me about it. And I got defensive because I received this as an attack. How dare you tell me about how you're not getting connection when I pay the bills?
So what would you expect me to do?
Now you came back, you walked away
in a lighter mode, and I still try to, Fauri more. I'm like, let me,
You won't be fouling more. Remember, you lost connection. If you wanted attention from me, it's different.
If I want to make you walk, if I want to make you walk, if I'm still willing to make you walk, I will still try some gimmicks to see if I can pull you in.
Those are two different things. Again, that means you're seeking attention from me. You're not seeking. We're going to talk about the seeking attention from me.
Okay, you tell me, what am I supposed to do? Because I don't believe in forcing yourself on people. I still don't believe in that. If it's not a mutual, if that person doesn't want you,
right? You're talking about control. Control doesn't work.
I don't believe in forcing yourself on another human being.
Yeah. Because it's still manipulation and control doesn't work.
Okay, so you give us the solution.
All right. So you lost connection. All right. And the only thing you're left with, okay, it's simple math. The problem is that we're complex as human beings because our emotions is wrapped up in the situation, right? So I'm the one with the blue balls, okay? I come to you every other 3 nights. You tell me no. Basically, finally, you give me every 3 to 4 weeks. How do you say that in English?
I can't even give that.
Huh?
I can't even do it. I can't even do it.
When you say, okay, whatever, let's just do it and get it over with. That kind of sex where it's basically you're now settling to do it just because it's a show.
I'm now disgusted.
You're kind of disgusted. You just look somewhere else anyway, And then if eventually I would detect it too because I want love and connection. I don't want sex. I can go and buy sex. I want you to connect with me, and I'm struggling because I don't want that. So I go longer too before I chase you, right? So when I do chase you, after 3-4 weeks, you allow me. Keyword being allow. The idea that you allow me and you didn't want it. So I'm the one that wants the attention,
right?
And I'm doing a terrible job at getting your attention, at attracting you,
right?
And you've lost connection. You don't want attention from me. In fact, that's the last thing that you want from me, right? The only thing you're left with is your feelings, the old you. But the new you, the one thing you're left with is you understand what integrity is. Because when you commit to something, right, that means you would do it, continue to do it long after the mood that you set it in has left you. But we don't want to do it as a show, like you said, right? So what you would do is do some homework and find out why you're losing connection for a person that you used to have connection for. That's a very tough work to do. There's a lot of hard work.
Maybe it's their attitude.
When you say maybe, that means you're not seeking help. You're doing guesswork.
I'm saying maybe because that's not my situation right now.
Oh, I know. I'm saying some people will say that. Some people will give the same answer.
The attitude is just bad.
Remember,
terrible.
Remember what I just said? I admitted he's terrible. He can't even receive when you came to him with love to express that, hey, I'm losing connection. He takes it as a defense. So what you do is you shut down naturally, right? Because half and half, you want to protect his feeling. Not only that, you want to protect your feeling. You don't want to feel like you're begging a grown man on how to behave, right?
Mhm.
No woman want to feel that,
Mhm.
right? So you just kind of like shy back into your own closet too, right? So again, terrible,
Mhm.
terrible husband. He doesn't know what to do in terms of how to attract you.
Mhm.
But we're left with you. You're the one complaining
Right.
now, right? And I just changed this today. I always said when everything else fails, I
Mhm.
want the man to lead. No, first of all, before the man leads, if the man doesn't see that there's a problem, if he's normalizing stuff and he's arrogant and he's defensive and stuff, that's not going to work. The first person that should lead is the person that's complaining.
Right.
That person should take responsibility in leading. Eventually, it will be nice for the man to catch up, right? Because it won't work if it doesn't catch up at some point. It will all fail, right? Because you'll be pouring from an empty cup,
Right.
right? But after if that fails, as in like the person complaining fails, right?
Mhm.
Hopefully the man leads because the man is supposed to be the leader, right?
Mhm.
In fact, after a point, if the woman is the one who is complaining who started leading, hopefully the man better catch up and start leading because again, it's not gonna last because of the society that we live in,
Right.
right? So what I will say is that if you find yourself, because it could be a man too, you lost connection for your partner, right? And and you're not feeling attracted to them, and because of that you find yourself withholding sex, right? People always say, don't use sex to punish. I don't think that's a real thing. That doesn't exist. You can withhold sex. You can't use sex to punish. The sex that you want, you cannot use it to punish other people. The reason why it looks that way is because you don't want the sex.
Yes.
Right? So if you don't want the sex, that means there are other things that you're not getting. It could be you don't feel connected. It could be you don't feel significant in the relationship. It could be because of a few array of other things, but it's not sex by itself.
Right.
Sex just happens to be the things that happen that people tend to remove when they're not feeling certain things, right? So if you understand that first, right? Like, okay, we're humans. We have emotions. I feel disconnected. There is a reason. Okay.
Right.
The way you approach that conversation suddenly, because of the empathy that comes into your thought process, changes everything.
Mm.
The idea that
That's why I
you
said
calm down
in
to have
a
empathy.
in a lighter mode.
Oh no, but you won't get into the right place if you don't take the time to process that empathy.
Right.
If you come with you're not giving me connection, it's gonna receive it as an attack.
Right.
Because it's all in the tone. It's not what you say, really. It's all in the tone and the energy, right? But if you have empathy, remember you already want sex. Maybe you will start paying attention to some gratitude.
Yeah.
Maybe suddenly you start paying attention to things you could be grateful about in the relationship. Just
Right.
because you took the moment for yourself to process that, okay, I'm complaining, but I'm not mad. I'm not crazy. Forgive yourself. That's part of the first process. But there's a reason why I'm losing connection. What is that? The work, because that part for everyone is different, right? But the fact that you lost connection is equal for everyone is because you lost connection, right? But what it is that made you lose connection is different from people. Some people may say, hey, she's too fat and I'm not attracted. Some
There's
people
attraction
say,
issues for some people.
yeah. Some people will say, well, her mouth is too fat. She's abusive verbally,
It could
and that's a
be
disconnect,
a
right? Or
hygiene issue.
it could be a hygiene issue, right? So, but when you process it and you identify what that is, connection tends to creep in because you remember that the human being that you got with is still there. You just want to help them now. You
Right.
approach it with
love.
Okay. Right? And that's not going to be in words.
Right.
It's going to be in energy. It's the vibe that you bring to the table. Plus, he's probably ready to open your clothes up and start smashing right now. The moment you come closer and even give that kind of vibe up. But if you go, we must have conversation, which is what most people think communication is. Right? By the way, communication with verbal is important at certain times. But for the most part, no. That's not what's needed.
Because honestly, when you're having conversation, when you're in the midst of the shit, the shit is just gonna blow.
It's your feelings
over.
are gonna creep in.
Yeah,
naturally.
So
and rightfully
it's not gonna
so.
work. Yeah.
It's not gonna work. So that's why you gotta process that on your side first. If you detected that you've lost connection That means you know that that's a real thing that you need, right? So now it's time to dig in deeper. Why did I lose connection for a person that I quote unquote love, or that person that I subscribed to marrying or get with in the first place?
Right.
What happened here? Are these things external? Are they internal? Are they my own personal trauma? It's a lot of work. It's not easy thing that I'm talking about. It's a lot of work that because again, why are we going to invest this much into this work? Because you also want the sex. There's a lot of time that women will say, I don't feel like I want sex, but I don't want to have sex with this nigga, right? There's a lot of time they will say like that, and then he's still not listening, and then he takes it as an attack because now we just basically attached. They not wanting to have sex to him too. That's even worse. That means he's doing a bad job, right? Could he be doing a bad job? Yes, but somehow in the past, at some point, he did a good job because you're in this, right? Or maybe it was really never good, but you're learning that there's more that you want. Hey, empathy too. Remember, he never knew that, right? So if you never knew that and you've processed that inside yourself, then you come to the table with, we can learn this stuff. This is the kind of like stuff I like to do, and then you come with that empathy in terms of vibe and the energy you bring. It's a big deal. It's going to make him not feel attacked, right? Are you responsible to teach a man how to attract you? Not necessarily. But when you're committed, it's in your best interest to help when you can help.
Right.
Because that's, even especially the scripture talked about you being the helper, but honestly, we're all each other's helper. There are going to be times that you carry me. There are going to be times that you cover me. And vice versa. That's what you call a healthy relationship. There's no healthy relationship where, oh yeah, he does all the carrying. There's no such thing. That eventually that's going to empty out.
Yes.
Right? And then he will start feeling some type of way and he won't be able to express himself, So that's the one side. So there are only two sides. You lost connection or you lost attention. Right? That thing, you need to turn it off. Right? There are two sides. Either you lost attention or you lost connection. If you're missing out on attention from your spouse, that can also help you lose connection over time.
Of course, you can get it elsewhere.
Oh yeah, because energy is neither created nor destroyed.
Lose the connection with your spouse.
Exactly. You will start giving that energy into other things that will replace the healthy thing that's supposed to be there, right? And you're human, right? See, as human beings, when our feelings are involved, all right and wrong and rules go out the window, including what you committed to, right? So the one thing you can really master and all of that is my feelings. I'm feeling disconnected. Okay, why am I feeling disconnected? What happened over the past 3 months? You have to do some inventories of your feelings. How did we get here? Do we argue all the time? Do I have external factor, external family factor, right? Third parties, right? Are there things that I want that I'm not getting? Am I being truthful with myself? Because a lot of time we lie to ourselves because we put up a front in everything we do, even with ourselves. Like I tell myself I look better than I look. Women do that more, but men are
what do you mean?
Admit. Well, men admit what they look like for the most part. They don't argue with you on what they look like. They don't think it's a thing. But a woman, in certain, not all women. Oh, a woman. If you tell a woman she's 4, not only her, there are many of our friends that would tell her she's a 4 on a scale of 1 to 10, right? There are many women that would tell her, don't let anyone tell you that, right?
What do you mean? She's a 4.
I'm not saying she's a 4. I'm saying if somebody told her she's a 4, right? There are many other women that would say, don't let anyone tell you. In fact, there are men that would tell her, don't let anyone tell you that. In fact, tell you that. In fact, I'm the first cheerleader to tell her, don't let anyone tell you that. It's true. Yeah. I'm talking about the act of saying that. Yeah. I'm saying nobody tells men that. If somebody tells a man you're ugly and it takes an offense to that, it's like, hey, what does it matter that you? That's what everyone would tell him. Like, go and sit down somewhere. We don't care about what you look like. You're a grown man. Why are you worried about what you look like?
Yeah, there's some men that
go and look in the mirror.
Look like,
and what would you call him? The question is, what would you call him? Exactly. You wouldn't entertain that from a man. Is the point I'm talking about, right? But that just derailed us off the conversation. So the point is that we all put up a front, even to ourselves.
A woman should never say she's a 4. She's a 10.
No, even a man should never accept less than, because how you see yourself is what people will agree with.
Yes.
Yeah. But we're not talking about beauty and we're not measuring beauty. We don't care. It's in the eyes of the beholder. All that doesn't really matter beyond the moment, right? But ultimately, I'm saying that we all put up a front. So when we're talking about emotional matters, you have to face the mirror and try to tell yourself the truth of how you feel.
Be real with yourself.
Be real with yourself. This is how I feel. This is a relationship I subscribed to. That was a commitment. So integrity says I have to follow through. What am I gonna do now? Does that mean you don't get to a certain place where you say, okay, it's a lost cause?
Because it can truly be a lost cause.
It can be. Remember what I said? I admitted that this guy could be a bum, right? But we're talking about, just understand that every relationship, there's a relationship goal out there. Somebody invested in it. Every grass that seems greener on the other side, somebody waters that grass, right? So make sure you've done your part.
Yeah, because you don't want to get to a point where you now become, because of the empathy, you now become the enabler. Because some people, I'm sorry to say, it's just a lost cause. You can try your best.
Let's give an example of that. Let's talk about examples.
I don't know. I have examples from the older generation, but I don't know anyone personally.
Let me tell you what the lost cause is.
That is a lost cause. Most people that I know are actually willing to, they want better and they want to do the work. But from our parents' generation, I have a good number of examples that were lost causes. Just feel like, because they're a man, that's enough, and you can't even complain about anything. And the society also encourages it. So
let me give you, since you don't have example of lost cause, I can give example without
in this era.
names.
I don't.
In any era, the lost cause starts from you still, right? If you feel like, again, it goes back to your feelings. If I feel like this is milking me, this is toxic, at least for this moment, I need to exit and go sort myself out.
Right.
Okay. But if I can still have room to count down 30 seconds and I don't go mad, that means there's a value that I'm getting that made me stay. I need to identify what that value is. It's called gratitude in life.
Yeah, I understand that. But again, there are people that I have seen, like I said, in my parents' generation, that have that gratitude. And they basically, because of that gratitude, stayed in a situation that was not healthy for them.
Good point.
And the person did not change. They basically just kept enabling the bad behavior.
So let's talk about the fine line, the blurry line between gratitude and enabler. Right? Okay. Gratitude is this. That's fact across board in life, right? That means if you don't appreciate what you already have, it's not going to appreciate. You have to appreciate it.
Yes.
That's what appreciates it, and then you do a new appraiser, and then it's bigger, right? Because it's all in perception. Because chances are, if you appreciate it and say, identify that, and that thing is good, that thing will respond and multiply and grow. Anything you focus on in life grows. Especially when we're talking about emotions. We're talking purely emotions. Okay. So if you focus on that, so case in point, let's say it's a man and he doesn't do that. I'm losing connection because he lost his job for the past 6 months. That happens. It doesn't mean you're a gold digger. It means somehow you're feeling unsafe. Right? You're feeling insecure.
But that can also change, because that's actually different from a man. A man who lost his job and is looking is different from a man that don't feel.
You know why?
Like he needs to walk.
You know why it's different? Because that's how you feel in that moment. You're right that over time things can change, right? So, but our feelings is usually inaccurate because it's based on now, right? But that's how we move. So we have to respect it, but don't give too much of it, right? Don't put it on a pedestal, because your feelings will fail you. If you your feelings will fail you. That's the whole point of taking the time to do inventory. Are there things I can be grateful for here? Now, the second question is it worth me putting in some work here?
Right.
Because the idea that you identify some things you could be grateful for, that naturally, empathy is also earned. It's also something that comes as an effect. That naturally creates empathy. Suddenly, you start seeing things a little bit differently, right? But if you don't take the time to do the inventory of, okay, why is it that I'm inside of this thing right now?
Right.
It could be because you lack self-love. If you lack self-love, that's when it becomes you're enabling.
Yes.
If you're completely drained, you feel like, no, I'm giving way too much. If you, for an ounce, you feel that way, we're not saying you have to. Remember, you feel that way, so it's the moment. Exit temporarily. Go and process it.
Everyone has their own limits.
Yes,
everyone
varies
has
from
their
people
own,
to people.
yes, because you might be trying to influence someone back to your side, and they still just feel like, because there's some people that really don't want to have sex than once a month. I mean, when we were on Clubhouse, we found out that there were also guys that are not interested in having sex sometimes. And they're okay with it.
What did I say to those guys?
If you're stuck with a guy like that and you're someone that loves sex, how are you going to balance it?
The person that doesn't want sex, I corrected them that we all don't want sex. I corrected all of them.
But you want connection.
Yes. You may be a personality, you don't like the idea of distress, emphasis on sex. Some of us don't mind talking about it because we believe it's educational. Don't mess up my seat, baby. You're becoming funny over there. Your swinging is making noise.
Oh my God. You're so practical. Jesus.
Right? So you don't like the emphasis on sex. There are people with that personality, right? But if they feel connected to a person, they will find themselves. Remember, feeling. They will break all their rules. We all break our rules when our feeling works in that direction, right? We break what we believe in from a Christian standpoint or religious standpoint. We break our culture because it feels right. We break all the rules. We breach all of it, especially when it's emotional. Meaning we're not going to jail if we break it.
Right.
We just like it's just this one time. We do things like that all the time. So when somebody comes at me and say, "Oh, I'm just the kind of person I don't like to have sex for 4 months," well, you're with the person that does, right? What is it inside of you that's making you not feel like, hey, I actually want to make this person happy? What? It's not about the sex. What is going on with you? Because once upon a time you were willing to at least meet in the middle, but now it's disconnected. That's why I think ultimately, for most people, if you remember in that room, 3 to 4 weeks is a lot.
Yes,
they call it red flag.
For the average person,
the average person, the most of it say after 2 weeks, I would think somebody in my village is doing something.
Yeah.
Most people, right?
Yes.
And the few that said, oh, I can go 6 months. I said, yeah, you can go 6 months. Me too. Okay. If I'm in a place where I can't have sex, maybe I'm away from my wife for months, I'm working overseas or something like that. Who told you I can't go 6 months too?
Right.
Circumstances created that. Sometimes circumstances too, if I feel disconnected from her, I may be able to go that long. But if I know that she likes to have it at least once every other day, I know that. How did I know that? Because I love her. I've taken the time to know what she wants and what she likes. I will be aware that I'm pushing it if I'm going 2-3 weeks. And I wouldn't want to hurt her feelings that way. Or vice versa. So we like to say this it depends thing. I get it. It's valid.
Yeah, because some people say, oh, we're just too busy people. We work too hard. We don't have time for sex.
Let's read some of this stuff. Maybe sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Right.
So Prince Ayola, how now? Well, to me, it is better you both know each other better before they get into anything. What do you say to that?
That can change.
Yeah, all that changes.
People change. People evolve. People grow.
You know me today.
People like something today, and tomorrow they might not like it. So.
But you're right. But the problem with that is that we change, we evolve.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily because of her that I change. There are so many. There are like hundreds and thousands of other signals that can make me change. Right? If you love your wife, you will love to have her every time. Well, true. You're attracted to her, right? I think it's more of a sexual attraction, right? If you love her, you will also understand that she needs space sometimes, right? Maybe I like to have sex 3 times a day. She needs at least 48 hours. We kind of find a way in between
to balance it out.
So the love that I have for her is finding that balance.
Right.
If I just want to bang you all the time, my 3 times a day, that is called that's not love. That's sexual attraction, and that can work against our relationship, because so we want to make sure we're considerate in that.
One of my schoolmates, so we're having this conversation on the chat room, and he was talking. He was saying that because he loves his wife so much, he doesn't like to stress out with sex. He has a high libido, but his wife, like she doesn't have like to have sex a lot. So he decided
What's
to
a
have
lot? What's a lot? Every other week?
to me, this is what I'm thinking. Maybe once a week they have sex.
Wait, is he complaining? I will assume he is.
He's not complaining. He's saying that that's why he has a side chick to fulfill him. And I'm like,
That's complaining.
what?
that's
That's
complaining.
your excuse for stepping out of your marriage? Like, does your wife know you
He
have
doesn't
a
like.
side
He
chick?
doesn't like the rejection.
No.
He doesn't like the rejection. There's a lot of men like
But
that.
he said it in a way like it's
Not
okay.
justifiable.
He normalized it. He said, "Oh, I just love my wife. She can't handle me, so I'm just gonna go take care of myself."
No. Plus, not only that. See, those kind of guys, if I have conversation with them, if they're open to it, I will break their lie very quickly, right? Not only that, when you have side chick, that's love and connection. That's not sex.
That is true.
You can buy sex without creating this.
That is actually true.
Can make it transactional. Why are you having a whole side chick?
Yes.
That's emotional connection now.
Yes.
Yeah. So
that person is giving you something like you're not getting, like you're connecting to that person. It's beyond sex. It really is.
The Prince Ayola continues. If you don't love sex, you go with who don't as well. What do you say?
But I feel like there are people that love sex, and at some point, they're just not getting enough sex, and they don't know why they're not getting it. So I don't think it's about not loving sex.
Yeah. No, he's saying if you love sex, get with somebody who loves sex. Again,
what if you love sex and in the future you stop loving sex?
Like the most, not only
what
that,
do you do?
The most common example is a woman will have a baby and our hormones, everything will change, right? Or you're going through a phase at work where you're the kind of person that stress affects your sex libido and you just can't think straight, right?
Yes.
Things change, but they usually change once you're inside the relationship already.
Yes.
We like to say things like, you should know this before. There's nothing, you're not going to know shit before, period. You're not going to know nothing.
Except if you're marrying a virgin, most people that are having sex before marriage, I feel like most of them feel in that moment they're enjoying that sex. That satisfies them.
They are satisfied enough to say, I'm going to go into this
I'm going to marry this person.
For them, they made that decision. Oh, yeah, but I didn't know the part. Dude, there was some value, and that was enough for you.
Yes.
And suddenly that changed. You know why? There are multiple reasons. It could be because you're wicked,
right.
Or it could be because she actually did change.
Right.
So it's time to learn something new.
Right.
Right. It's time to learn something.
I remember when we had Tumi, and of course after you have the baby, 6 weeks you have to wait, right?
Right.
That 6 weeks, we couldn't make it through the 6 week. We had sex at 3 weeks. After 3 weeks,
right?
And I remember I was so horny.
I remember you asked for it.
Oh my God!
Because if they say 6 weeks and you had a C-section.
I had a C-section.
If they say 6 weeks, I'm gonna follow through. I'm obeying that. I'm not the one that's going to cause. I'm the type that
like to follow through, but I could not follow through. But when we had Tony, my libido went like down. Like I didn't have the urge to want to have sex.
Right.
I went beyond that 6 weeks, even further, until we now had that discussion and we said, let's go see a doctor because I don't feel like myself right now.
Right.
I don't feel like I want to have sex. And it didn't have anything to do with you. And we went to the doctor and we found out that these things do happen and there are ways to come back.
You know why you're still saying that? I remember that conversation and you calling it libido. If you were into to your credit, that's a good place to be. Clearly you were reading. Clearly you were honoring your commitment. Right. Because you could be like, I don't feel connected again. I'm moving on. This guy. There are people that do that. That's their limit. That's their threshold. It doesn't make it wrong. It's just their threshold.
But I knew that it wasn't about you. I knew it was more about me, how I was feeling, and I knew that I could not explain it. I needed someone to explain it.
You know what they say about people that say it's not you, it's me. A lot of time that could be received as a lie.
Sometimes it's not about you, it's about the other person. Yeah. So, and then we went to seek help, and we were able to find the help we needed.
Right.
But because these things are not discussed, I feel like women too, we don't have a healthy community that encourages us to open up.
Right.
We judge ourselves. So you see one girl, she's very hypersexual.
Right.
She loves sex. We're looking at her sideways like, huh.
No, all of us. We'll start
Yeah, we're
looking
looking
at
at her
we
like,
start picturing.
and then you have someone else that doesn't even like sex at all. Like
Right.
we don't talk, we don't speak to one
Right,
another,
right.
and that's why we suffer in our marriages
Right.
sometimes, because we're busy judging ourselves.
So to stay on path, before I continue to read the Prince, your last comment here.
All right.
To stay on path here, right? We all truly like sex.
We do.
But we don't want sex when there's no love and connection.
Right.
But we also do a bad job in how we express that because of the awkward energy that usually comes around any sex talk.
Right.
Most people don't want to have it. They think it's like, why are we talking about that? They start getting uncomfortable. And that's one of the reasons why we all can do without sex for a long period of time. If the real things that we want, significance, love, connection, security, if those things are not there, we all can do without it. And if sex is truly what we want, we all can go in the street and buy them. But also, right, there's certain dignity and shame that comes with buying sex. So, but I'm telling you, enough people are buying it clearly, right, that they will just hide that from the world.
Right.
They
won't
put it out
themselves, there. Yeah. I mean, when we were talking about it on Clubhouse, my mom was right next to me because I was obviously out and about. And I was asking my mom, what do you think about this whole conversation? And she was like, yeah, of course, you should be having sex at least 2 to 3 times in a week in a healthy marriage.
That's considered healthy by most people.
She said, but when you see women that have been hurt. Like maybe you have a cheating husband, husband that does not care for you. It becomes resentment. It becomes bitterness for that woman. And who wants to sleep with someone that, has hurt their feelings? And I think that is true to an extent, because for women, I think some women will agree with me that, emotionally, they're connected to their vajayjay. Like, if you make me feel like crap, I don't want to, it starts from here for me. I don't want to have anything to do with it.
You know the funny thing?
Yeah.
It does for us too. But how we express it is different.
It's different.
If you say anything about, if you turn me down, if I come open your clothes on the bed.
Why are you opening my clothes?
If I start touching, I start whispering
that
your
is,
ear, right?
that is such an archaic way of doing things.
I was saying Yoruba English. So yeah.
What?
Let's say I did that, right?
Yes.
And if you reject me, and you now say, "Femile Jare," I won't want to have it anymore too. Now I may find myself caught up in a cycle where I'm just saying, but the truth is I don't want to have it anymore. Because it's connected to here too. That messes with our ego. Because when they say ego, people think that's logical. No, that's not logic. That's emotions too. Right. It's an emotion, and that messes with my sense of feeling adequate. Right. So I won't want it's all of us. That takes me to this next comment here. Prince Ayola said, if you don't love sex, you go, okay. He said, like me, I love sex. I can't date or marry a lady that don't. If you give me that attitude, I'm out. Out. What do you say to that?
He said, if you give me the attitude,
it's out of the door.
But the issue is, when you're dating, you're still in that in love.
Like
I remember when we were dating. When we dated for 3 years, right? I would sneak over to your house. I even lied to my mom that I'm going to a party, and then I'm sleeping over at your house. And we would do anything. We loved having sex in a car until we had that situation. That was even after we got married.
That's after we got married.
That was before we got married. That's true. They said, I don't want my mom to.
You didn't let us do that anymore.
No, after that. Well, I don't want to be arrested. A cop walks up to me and say, "What are you doing there?" That's freaky. I don't want to go to jail and have a mugshot because.
But you were doing freaky stuff.
But I like it. My point is, we do all kind of stuff before we get married.
Why?
Because we're into each other, we're connected.
But beyond that, good point, baby. But beyond that, right? There is a certain emotional satisfaction that we get from chasing. Like if we haven't had it yet, there's something about the fact that something we haven't had, we want it.
Right.
If there's still the opening, if the girl is still giving you attention and suddenly she give you a little attitude, a lot of time that's actually when you want to even try further. That's when you want to stick around, because rejection breeds obsession. Not for everyone.
Yes.
To be fair to Prince, not for everyone. Okay, but for most of us, if you know the opening is there, rejection breeds obsession. That's why you see a guy who is in the marriage. Because remember, we're talking mostly about people that's already in a situation.
Already married. Yeah.
This usually doesn't happen to people that are not married, right? If you see a guy who says, I want to have sex, and then you start giving him attitude, you'll find out that you get caught up in his emotion and you start talking about it, and then she get turned off even more. And then he doesn't want sex too, but he's talking about it. It's just getting worse.
Well, anyway, to be fair to not only marriages, or people that are also living together.
Right. I said committed relationship.
Committed relationship. Yeah. You know, they also experience that. Yeah. So,
and the real element there, I know that marriage adds certain emotional pressure too, but for the most part, it doesn't matter marriage or not. As long as you're living with this person and you committed to that in the first place,
right?
And you guys used to do like rabbits,
right?
And suddenly that changed. That's when this becomes.
And then sometimes I feel like complacency in the.
One deal, fly and poetic. They're talking about boundaries.
Oh.
My people, I love it when they bring boundaries into the conversation. Fly and poetic. I hope you're still here.
We have boundaries that others
should respect.
I mean, in a marriage or committed relationship,
there's context.
Boundaries?
Yeah, exactly.
I would like to know.
There's context.
Yeah, I want to know more. What kind of boundaries?
Yeah, what do you mean by boundaries?
Yeah,
I know we're very quick to bring in boundaries, respect, forgetting that these things in a committed relationship are earned. But let's hear, maybe the context will be different a little bit from what we're thinking.
Yeah.
You're very correct about people do change. Prince also says side chick is different from paying for sex. Yes. Side chick is love and connection.
It is.
You don't get a side chick because of sex.
That's actually a lover, not just
that's a lover.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's not a prostitute.
And we like to tell ourselves as men, or women sometimes tell us the lie is that, oh yeah, men just like to have sex. No, that's not why. It's not getting the love and connection that him as an individual, it's not your fault. Him as an individual needs. And he may not be man enough. He may not be able to commit. He may not have self-control. But whatever he's getting from his side chick is love and connection.
It is. And that's why those side chicks stay winning.
Yes.
For the most part. Yes. They stay in business because once you can give your partner what they need, or you are unaware, someone else fills that position, even though you have the wife title.
This is funny. Prince, did you harass my viewers? That's not cool.
What did it say?
He said she left because I told her to slow down, but I didn't see any of her comment. I only saw one comment.
With the boundary. Oh my God. I would have loved to know more. Maybe I missed some
comments before.
Yeah.
So
I want to hear where she's coming from.
I really do, because boundaries, I push against it, but in certain context. Boundaries are necessary in life because we're humans. Like I said, we breach anything when it feels right. Never mind right and wrong, never mind rules.
Me too, I have my own little boundary when it comes to sex. My little boundary.
What is that?
My butt is my butt. Nothing goes in there. That's boundary for me. I beg.
That's not what she was talking about.
God, I beg you. No, that one, I am not ready. Okay? But you never know. Maybe in the future, I will shut it down.
I don't think that's what she was talking about.
I'm just saying my own little boundary.
Yeah. I thought you were about to say your boundary, I would think, is that your boundary, which I breach sometimes, I breach it. But I'm aware that I breach it because we spell it out as a boundary that I know is that when you're sleeping, you don't like to be bothered.
Oh, yes. Oh, my God. I love my sleep. Oh.
Prince Ayola was talking about his girl. The girl left because I said we should slow down. Oh, you're talking about your girl. I thought you were talking about This lady that was here, Fly and Poetic.
Oh, okay.
Got you. Yeah, absolutely. That's your story. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So when you but I don't do it so much that anytime I do it, it's not a problem. You see what I'm saying? But if I did that every day, there was a point that I did that I disrespected that boundary every time.
I like to sleep.
And this is something that people should learn about boundaries in a committed relationship. If a person expressed to you that they don't usually use the word boundary, I hate the word boundary personally in a committed relationship.
Right.
But it is boundary, right? When the person says, I don't like when you do this, I receive that as a honor. The fact that she would tell me that she feels free to tell me that, I receive that
instead
as a
of
gift.
fighting it.
I received that as an opportunity to give to you. So now she's told me what she doesn't like. That means it's something I can give her from time to time. And every now and then when I decide to break it, she lets me.
Yeah, because I feel like it's easier when you actually seduce that person into it than like you seduce them, they want more.
Right, because a very
the...
important part of the seduction process is patience.
Right.
So naturally, I would want to wake you up anytime I want to. That's naturally, right? But when you get into a committed relationship, when you start to learn that there are other humans involved, we don't call it boundary. Boundary has a negative thing to it. It looks like you're giving rules, and it makes the other person feel like they can love in a way that they feel free.
Right.
Boundaries work against the sense of freedom,
it does work
even though it's a real thing that we exercise anyway.
Right.
I'm just saying, be aware of that when you spell that into every relationship talk. You're going to make the person feel like they're not free, and that's going to work against what you actually want.
Look for freedom elsewhere.
And they call it side chick.
Oh, facts.
Or side dude. Or office husband.
They still, yes,
Jesus.
work husband. They stay winning because, they know how to connect to your.
Yeah, we have to be careful, but not be careful by walking on eggshell. Just learn this stuff. Learn the emotional effect of the words that we use. The words can be true and right, but it's not about right and wrong. It's about the effect that it has on the other person's feeling. If you come at me with boundary conversation all the time,
right,
I naturally will start walking on eggshell, and that's not what you want. That's not what you want. But if you tell me, use layman language, you say, babe, I don't like that. It doesn't bother me. Okay, you don't like that? Okay, babe, I got you. Right? Just calm down with all the lingos, right? It's the same shit, really.
Right.
It's semantics, but it creates a different effect in my brain, right? And
these
are the things. This is the reason why people are struggling in relationship,
right? Because
they learn something, they want to bring that terminology into the relationship. You're guilty of that.
What did I do?
Or if we argue, you start pulling out all the words.
What?
And then it works against us, and then the only thing I can do is just shut down for a minute at least.
What do you mean?
I
pull out the words. What words?
Manipulation, boundary, all of it. You start pulling it.
Well, if I feel like I was somebody that's manipulating me, I will call it out. Because I don't want you to manipulate me in that moment.
Well, when you say I don't want you to manipulate me, it does exactly that. It pushes me. If I was somebody that's not emotionally strong, it makes me want to manipulate you more. I now want to prove to you that I'm not manipulating, which is essentially what I'm doing all over again. You get it?
But I don't want to be manipulated.
Yeah, but you get manipulated when you use the word. Because remember what you focus on.
What other word should I use if I don't want that in the moment?
Just say that's not what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
just use layman language.
I don't like that.
Just say that's not what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I don't like that.
But when you pull out the psychological, you know that.
I like the layman language.
Yeah, use layman language. You remember that I used to do that too, and you call me like I'm trying to be your psychologist. Remember that?
Yeah, I don't appreciate that.
Exactly.
I'm not your patient.
Yeah, me too. I'm still human. I'm not firewood.
Well, again, I'm calling it out because I feel like that's what you're doing to me in that moment.
But those buzzwords, the point here is that boundaries, manipulation, you're controlling. Now it's now controlling.
So how do you tell somebody that is controlling to back off? You have to. Those are the words that people that come to mind in that moment. I don't think people intentionally want to say that, but that's how they express themselves. Because if we say they can't use those words, now we're telling them they can't express themselves at all.
Yeah.
So what other? Instead of saying that, then suggest.
What psychologists encourage using a lot is I feel. Use the word I feel. We need to know your feelings. When you use the word I feel, not only are you owning how you feel naturally, You're owning that I'm in a relationship. That's not one. You're acknowledging that. But I feel, I don't like buts. But there are certain times that but is a real thing. I hear you, but I feel like
Why don't
you don't
like
want to
but?
hear me. Huh?
Why don't you like? I think.
Oh, I don't like but when you apologize. If you want to apologize, apologize. You don't say I apologize, but that negates the apology.
Right, it takes back the
Right.
apology.
If you're trying to make a point, any point we're making, right? But negates it. So, but in this case that we're talking about where you're expressing your feeling, the feeling is the only valid thing. Right. So in relationships, I'm talking about not at your job. If you tell your boss that you feel, they'll fire you. But in a relationship, that's actually the only thing that's
But the
valid.
truth of the matter is, see, those I feel, they don't come in that moment.
But that's the point. You have to rise to that level. You have to self-development.
Everyone is a work in progress.
Yeah, I agree. 100%, right? These things that I'm saying are easier said than done. Always remember that.
Because I don't want the people that use that use certain language not to be able to shy away from expressing themselves. When you say people can use certain words,
I'll tell you what.
They shy away because they're learning how to express themselves.
The reason, see, everything is a balance in life.
Right.
Everything is a balance, right? So even a few can be bastardized. That can be used to manipulate.
I feel like it's bastardized.
Okay, good. But it can be used against you because I feel.
It's your feelings.
Right? So even though it can be used to manipulate, right? It still can be used against you. When you use words that can be used against you, you're giving the other person, or let me say in the right Christianity context, you're giving devil ammunitions because it's planting fear in the mind of the other person. Nothing good will come out of it. You see what I'm saying? And is it your responsibility? No, it's not. But also there's consequences for our action. Right? The other person has the right to feel how they feel. But remember, you committed to a relationship that you care about. Right? So it's in your best interest to learn these things and practice as much as you can. Because there are going to be times that you won't remember that, right?
Exactly.
But the idea is to do as much as you can.
If you have someone that is working on themselves, like you're working on myself, on yourself, in that moment, they should be able to rise up to the occasion and think the best case scenario, not the worst.
So let's talk. You were talking about expressing yourself.
Know that person is just their feelings. They don't mean to attack you.
Oh no, we're talking about the person that's complaining now.
Oh no, we're not talking about the person that's complaining.
No, we're talking about the person that's complaining. That's what we're talking about. When you ask me, what's the different word to use in place of manipulation?
Oh, okay.
You asked me that question. I'm answering that question.
Instead of saying, "Oh, you're manipulating me," you should say, "I feel like
because
you're manipulating me."
You no.
Is that okay?
No. Actually, I feel manipulated.
It won't be received well either.
No, I feel manipulated is a different sentence, a meaning from you're manipulating me.
Okay, so
no,
you tell someone, I hear you.
Okay,
but when you're in the heat of an argument and you say, I feel manipulated, you think they will receive it better than you are manipulating me?
It's a better chance. It's not guaranteed. It's a better chance. Here's why. It's
not guaranteed with this.
Here's why. Again, when you use
people have moments that they're in their feelings, men and women.
No, but the whole point of this conversation is that we have moments when we're in our feelings, and we want to learn better ways to express ourselves.
Right.
Where you agree that all communications are not effective communication. You agree? Okay. You agree that expressing yourself is used synonymously, meaning as the same thing with communication a lot. I just want to express myself. We're just trying to communicate. You agree that people use it alike a lot, like they're saying the same thing.
I understand why people use it. Do you understand why people use it?
I did say, do you understand why people use it?
I understand why they use it.
Oh, you do? Good. Now let's talk about the question I asked you. Right? Do you agree that people use I'm expressing myself? Yes. I'm communicating synonymously. Yes. Okay. So now, but expressing yourself in a relationship that involves another human being is not enough. It's good. It's a good thing to do because we don't want to have to read your mind. But that's not enough. Because
I feel like men will say, "Oh, but I can't read your mind." How am I supposed to know what's going on with you when you won't tell me?
Yes.
And then the same token,
Mhm.
the woman is telling you what her issue is, you get defensive.
No. You're right.
You
Most
can't
men.
tell me no because
No. I'm saying
I'm
no.
talking for a group of women, okay,
Mhm.
that feel like when they express themselves
Mhm.
to their spouses, is always received negatively, even when they try to be nice about it.
So an average man, right, taking offense, they get defensive, right, because they receive what you said as an attack.
As they're not doing enough. Like, oh,
Yeah.
it's about
But
them.
yes, precisely, it feels like you attacked me.
Mm-hmm.
If I feel attacked, the only natural thing for me as a man who is not a firewood to do
Mm-hmm.
is to defend myself,
Mm-hmm.
come off as defensive.
Mm-hmm.
So we end up in this vicious cycle of
So how
arguments.
should a woman, even though she expressed herself nicely
Mhm.
or not nicely, how is she supposed to express herself? And already, let me tell you,
Mhm.
let me add this. In a world where it's already a man's world,
Mhm.
where women are not even free to speak their mind.
Mhm.
You know, we're talking about where in America, it's even a different ball game with Nigeria.
Right.
Like there's certain things that a woman wants to tell her husband, but she doesn't want it to be received
Mhm.
in a
Now,
negative light.
this argument we're talking about happened what, 2 weeks ago, something like that.
Which one?
A minute back, when you said manipulation.
Oh,
Right, that happened a while back, right? Have you
is
ever
it
heard
2
me
weeks
say?
ago or 3 weeks ago?
Have you ever heard me say it since then? Did you hear me say this then? Since then?
No, you didn't.
Okay, good. So starting point, good
Okay.
starting point, right?
Okay.
I didn't, even though
You didn't mention
it felt
it.
the way it felt,
Mhm.
I understood that this is just how you know how to express,
Mm-hmm.
at least in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There's no guarantee that your
But
man. Let me talk to everybody else for a second.
And sometimes, for
Wait.
lack of a better word
Uh-huh.
to use,
Mhm.
when you want to express yourself and you don't know how to
Mhm.
actually, you don't know what word to use,
Mhm.
you can use manipulation.
No,
No,
it's
I'm
not about the word
saying-
manipulation. It's
Oh.
about anything that is essentially will come as an attack at the other person, will not work in your favor as a person.
In an argument, when the person is actually arguing too.
Remember, we have quote unquote boundaries that we should
Mhm.
avoid argument already
Mhm.
for these very reasons. But sometimes we end up in it because we're humans, right?
Because sometimes we have to talk about certain things.
No,
and we might
argument is not
agree.
talking.
No. Argument is not talking.
Mhm.
I agree with that.
Mhm.
But sometimes
Mhm.
talking can become arguments.
Yes,
Because the other person just don't feel the way you feel.
correct. So now let me talk to the people for a second, right?
Mhm.
So I'd never brought it up in weeks, right? Because I was in a place of strength where I can take that for what it is. I was able to read beyond just the word or the feeling that it planted in here in that moment in time. I brushed up the feeling that this is her saying what she feels, right? There is no guarantee that your husband will, in fact, there's a very low chance that your husband will be able to do that. He's going to receive it as an attack, and then he's going to attempt to attack you back. He's going to hit below the belt just because he loves you, because you love each other, and you find yourself in that space. So we're in a very terrible space. It's toxic energy. Okay. So that's why we're having this conversation, right? So now that we know that
conversation because we're talking about sex.
No, yeah, because we're talking about boundaries. About sex, that's boundaries, and I said the word boundaries has a negative. What's the word connotation to it? It doesn't feel like you're in freedom.
You don't feel free.
Yeah. So that's why we try to avoid boundary as a word, but it's real. Sometimes it's necessary, right?
Right.
Especially if you feel like the person does not respect you, it's okay to express that, hey, this is my boundaries. But just understand that saying that more than once obviously does not, it has, the more you say it, it has negative effect. It works against you. One time is okay in a particular setting, right? One time, boundaries, please don't do that. One time has the effect that he has, right? The more you say it, it has negative effect.
I wouldn't use the word boundary. I'll just say, I don't like that. I don't want you to do
that. What you don't like is what you don't like. Just layman language. The same thing goes for manipulation, right? What do you people? I don't feel manipulated with the person I've chosen to be in a relationship with. That's not a real thing. That word came about because we know that word as a psychological word to describe certain behavior. When you are interacting with a person you love, you don't want to use such words because it's going to come off as an attack. And there's no guarantee that the person you're talking to is going to be emotionally strong. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm.
I could flip it and say, let me say you're manipulative. Let me say that to you that day.
Mm-hmm.
What would that feel like? You just start crying. You say, me, I'm manipulating. Oh.
Why did you say I'll just start crying?
you just start crying.
That's so wrong.
You just start saying because it will come off as an attack.
So you have to let people know that I cry.
No. You're a woman supposed to cry. Hi, Tato.
I don't want people to know that I cry. Hi.
How you doing?
Fine. Where have you been, wifey?
I've been around though.
The last time I heard about you, you were busy swiping. I'm gonna
She was swiping my card, right?
Bye.
Don't mind him, Jerry. I was swiping for the family. Sometimes you have to.
I understand because we cannot see some of those things. That's one thing men don't understand. That women sometimes, yes, we shop a lot, but it's because our eyes is seeing the need part. But men, they hustle, but they don't know the need part.
No, they don't
and
understand.
And you find out that the money you were spending, it was even for his t-shirt or boxers.
You know? How did you know?
Did you say pads?
No, you just say you are
Did she
spending
say
my
pads?
money. You are spending my money.
So every time you stop by somewhere on the road, it's because you went to buy pad.
No. Let me tell you, if I have to walk in a mall, I'm not a wife. I'm still in a girlfriend level. But if I were in your wife's shoes now, and it happens, I'm entering a mall, and when I enter let me say I enter a mall now, and then I'm walking around the mall. I'm like, God, the weather is very cold, and I'm human. Forget that we are husband and wife. You've got skin, I've got skin. I'm like, this man, his body. Maybe after making love, his body is always cold. And I saw a set of pajamas.
But
am I supposed to ask for?
So now you want to buy pajamas, and pajamas is the reason why you spend extra 2 hours.
Do you need pajamas? Hell no. I'm with your card. What I would do, I'll buy you a
with
pair
my
of
card.
pajamas.
See life.
With your card. And I'll buy you pairs of pajamas. There I go. I move into a new shop, another shop again, and I'm walking in. Oh my God! Do you know my husband hair? Sometimes it's starting to become gray. How about I get a black hair dye for you? It's an example.
So you buy dye.
Yes, so.
Oh, okay, yes.
You never run out of excuses.
Yes. The priest said this lady must be from South Africa. Yes, I'm from South Africa. And then you notice that you're supposed to get a hair dye for your husband. You buy it. That's what I was telling your husband that day. I'm like, oh, she's shopping for the family, but I'm telling you, definitely, she must be buying something from you. That's
She does. To be frank, she does.
Yes,
yeah.
Because men find it difficult to accept that women, we are their eyes.
Okay. See, I agree with her.
All right, so let's get in on this conversation that we're talking about here.
Yes.
What's your take on it?
Sex and once per 3 to 4 weeks. Can you please help me pause it? Once 3 to 4 weeks.
Yes.
It's not wicked. And then let me tell you something. I personally, after I had my child, just help me lower it. I'm on a live.
How old is your child?
My child is turning 2 years on the 17th February.
2 years old.
I'm
Awesome.
going to buy gift. Auntie.
What?
Gift.
I'm going to buy gift.
She's looking for a gift for 2
you're
years.
looking for a gift.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Congratulations.
On Tuesday, I'm turning 27
on
Tuesday.
Nice.
You're so young.
Happy birthday.
South Africa 2012. Those are the people that knew that South Africa was small London, because actually South Africa was probably proper and normally renovated around 2011 and 12 against the World after the World Cup of 2010. Everything was well published and demolished, everything after 2012, the World Cup. So
stay with me. Prince will not let you be. You can DM me. Stay with me. Hang out with me.
And me, I want to talk about this sex something. When I was still with my baby dad,
Mm-hmm.
we lived together as husband and wife. You know, South Africa, we are a kind of a world by when you are a young girl, when you are about to seek for marriage, you have to always make sure that you get pregnant and leave your resemblance for the family. Like my child now resemble me to my father. So if I get married, there's no turning back for me. The family will never remember me because there's something I left for them that can replace me.
Oh, wow.
So when I was with the father of my child, there is some times whereby I feel like, okay, I just finished my period or I'm on my period. Even not about period, guys. I'm also human. There's just that time where I feel like I don't feel like somebody touched. Not that I don't love you. Like up until today, I still love the father of my child. I haven't seen a guy that can remove that love.
That feeling.
Although, yes, he's somebody's property. But he was just a soulmate. Forget that he was married or whatever. He was a soulmate. That's where people make mistakes. People still meet people's husband. And the people's husband, they become their soulmate. I'm a victim of it.
Wow.
He was my soulmate. He understood me so much whereby even a single guy have never, ever understood me like that. And that's where I come about. I'm like, I need to have a copy. I need to have this blood as part of me. And people were like, how can you get? I said, no, I need to have, even if he's no more part of me, but let me just have his blood as part of me. And I think through his blood, I will know a lot of things and I'll move on. I'm telling you, that's how I became this intelligent. And that is how I start understanding life because of that man. So I will stay. This is 3 weeks to 4 weeks is just like a month. I will stay 2 months.
Once a month.
You will stay 2 months. Okay.
I will stay 2 months. It doesn't mean that I cannot kiss him if I see in the morning. I cannot hug
Let
him.
me ask you a question. How did he feel about that?
With my baby dad, he felt like, okay, it's not the time.
Like it's not the time again. He gave you the space. He gave you the space.
Yeah, he's a passion lover. He's a passion lover. So he feels like he's supposed to be with me when I am in the mood. If it's like him making love to me and I'm not happy and I'm not ready, it's no more making love. It's just the sex. And once you start calling something sex, it's attracting emotional lot of things that are meant to be called abuse. Believe you me, when you make love to me and I'm not ready for it, it's an abuse. When you make love to me, can you please help me? When you make love to me and I'm not ready, forget I'm your wife, forget I'm your girlfriend. It's an abuse.
Of course.
You cannot penetrate on me when I'm not ready. Because once you penetrate on me and I'm not ready, let me tell you, vagina is something that brings a natural look. If you penetrate
it's dry.
on me,
it's dry anyway.
Yeah.
I'll be dry. The natural look will not come out.
Right.
But if you penetrate on me, I'm excited and I'm also flowing with it. Forget I'm your wife, I'm your girlfriend, I'm what you bought or I'm so ever. But as far as I'm excited over it, I'll be happy about it.
Now let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Ideally for you, on a normal day, how often would you like to have sex with the person you love? Ideally, on a normal day, in a healthy, committed relationship.
If I were to be married or single,
you're living together, committed relationship, married or not?
Okay, committed relationship. Believe you me, it doesn't have a time. If I look at my guy,
no, I say ideally. We're acting like we're computers. What would you like?
Right. Anytime I look at him and I feel honey.
No, but how often is that typically from your experience? How often is that?
Dude, if I love my guy, any side of love, I look at him.
Okay, so it could be, so let's just call that once a day at least. If he's passing by, is that too much?
Hell no.
Okay, so give me a number now. I'm driving somewhere. I will ask you a second question.
While nobody has went outside, in 100, like let's say in five numbers, as far as I'm with my guy, no going outside, just chilling.
No, you go to work like normal people. You go to work like normal people.
More than 7 times in 5.
Wow.
More than 7
He's my
times in
man.
5 days.
Okay, you said 5 days.
In a day. In a day. How often?
What I said
In your
to you,
in your peak.
if it's in a day,
Mm-hmm.
I'm with my man, and we are happy. We are not thinking about anything.
No stress.
There's no stress.
Mm-hmm.
There is nothing. I'm telling you, it's uncountable.
It's uncountable.
If
So
you say 5 times,
good
I
answer.
will give you more than 10 times.
So just as a placeholder,
When you
I would say once a day, just as a placeholder. The second question.
I think it once in a day when I'm with my man and we are happy.
Okay,
It's
so
impossible.
the second
After all,
question.
we cannot finish it.
Stay with me,
We
Tato.
cannot finish it. So we'll just go to the next tent.
Stay with me, Tato. The second question for you. Okay. How far apart will you need to see before you start to feel like something is wrong with our relationship? How far? That was the question that I asked yesterday. How long can you go before you start to feel like, okay, something is wrong? How long can you go?
Without sex.
Everything is good, no stress, no children.
7 hours. 7 hours.
You go 7 hours, you feel like something is wrong?
No. Remember, I told you what happened between me and my guy, and I remembered your wife idea. She was not online. You know, she doesn't know that she's a good woman until we tell her. She was not online. She was doing shopping that day.
Right.
I was shopping, though.
I told you, it took me 30 minutes that he left from inside the house to the brother's house, and he was in the brother's house. After I slept few hours, a few minutes, and I woke up, something like a noise, kind of, here we are living in a condo house, it's like you guys in Dubai. So probably somebody may jump the lift or something, and I got shocked. I'm like, no, my man is not in the house, and I'm like, what's wrong? Why are you not at home? And I start finding out there's a problem. If it's your man, there's always something to say in a second. A relationship that
No. Wait. I got that part. But I'm talking about sex. How long will you go? If you haven't had sex, how many days will you go? At how many days will you say something is wrong?
If it's not having sex with you.
If it's not having sex with you, let's assume it's the one that's not coming close to you, but no sex.
If I'm with if not in a relationship, not like every day with you guys, I'm speaking from a relationship. In a week, probably I spend a weekend with my guy. That's like Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. If probably I arrive his place Friday, we didn't make love. Saturday, the whole day, we don't make love. When it gets to the Saturday evening, I will know there's a problem.
Oh, okay, good.
Because I know he cannot shower without asking me, babe, won't you come to the shower?
Okay, good one. Now, ideally, you're living with this same person. Let's call it because that's really the context. You're living with this person. So 1, 2, 3 days is not a big deal. How many days will you go before you say, Mr. Man, what is going on? Or check yourself?
Because I'm a woman, and as a woman, I need a 3 days break that I was given nature by God, which is my period time. And then probably I need extra 5 days as my evaluation time, which is going by now 8 days to 9 days. Then after that, I will question him.
So if you go 2 weeks and your man is not coming close to you, you haven't had sex.
2 weeks, something is lost.
Something is okay. All right. So now you agree. When you answer those 2 questions, you've agreed with me that for the last 6 months, we only do it 3 to 4 weeks. Every 3 to
wickedness now is wickedness.
She said wickedness. She said weird. All right.
Yeah, that thing is not pounded yam. It's not Gary. It's not. That is a nature food that every human
will want at some point. Okay.
Wanted at some point. And any lady that says I can stay for 1 week, 2 weeks, I'm not honey for my guy, you don't love that person. Because I wouldn't stay.
It's disconnection. That's why.
Your wife know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's a disconnection. Now, for the record, we don't think it's wickedness. We're actually trying to educate about so many things that can happen, why a person may feel disconnected, why that is happening. That's really the point of the conversation. We think that the last on that list is probably wickedness. Like nobody gets into a relationship just to punish you, right?
And on some of those things, like your wife used to say every time, it's communication. Because I believe if I'm not gonna be in the mood, I have a right to sit my partner or my man or my husband down. That daddy or honey, I'm going into fasting mode.
Fasting.
Saying that please let's not go the other side. And then if you agree or disagree, or if it's a boyfriend that love, I'm going to be in my place for like 1 week or 2 weeks. I think we're not gonna meet, or I may deliver your food or something, but I just want us to avoid the sexual part because this is what I'm going through. So in some of these things, communication still matters a lot, you know.
Yes.
Question for you, Tato. Are you trying to say that, because you told a story in the beginning of this session, right? Are you trying to say that that there's no awkwardness attached to the communication about sex in South Africa? You guys don't care?
Yeah,
you just talk about it?
How is it in South Africa? Do people talk about sex freely?
My dears, in South Africa, sex, even, you know what we call traffic lights or stop sign, you find out about sex there. And that is why you find it highly rate that people always prefer, as I'm sorry for this, it's not proper for life. But why is it we do not see it as anything? We see it as something between the two people and it's meant to happen.
So there's no awkwardness, not like in Nigeria.
What is awkwardness?
All right.
So did you learn about sex at a young age?
How young were you when you learned about sex?
Did your parents tell you anything?
I learned about sex when I was in grade 7. That's about 12 years, entering grade 6 into the secondary school. But on my case, I was one of the most brilliant students, and I was a head girl, and I was in a boarding school. I was a president.
Oh, wow.
So you have to know. And the kind of boarding school that I was, it was under social development. So I deal with all sort of kids, disabled, crippled, mentally disturbed, normal, physically abused, normal abuse, and all those kind of a thing. So in my case, it was totally different because I go through a whole lot of things. And I was brought into that place. It was Sierra Leone's place of safety. It was a government place. I'm not supposed to be there because I was from a wealthy family. But due to jealousness of the school teachers, whites, you know, these boas, in South Africa, we've got boas that are definitely very jealous of black children that are intelligent. Wow. So my social worker was his name is Mr. Martin. I cannot forget him. He was so jealous of my intelligence, whereby the school will suggest this girl is not supposed to be in this school. She's very intelligent. She needs to go to this school, and he will jeopardize it. He will go against it. He will do all, you know, white skin. He will do all the things, but some things you cannot challenge God, and what God gave somebody, you cannot challenge it. So I will always win him. There's even a certain time that me and him, we quarreled. And as a child, I got angry and I threw a cup on him. He sent me to a juvenile jail.
Yeah.
What?
I'm telling you, I stayed in juvenile jail for 1 year. You can imagine.
You see, in Nigeria, for the most part, there are naughty kids, but for the most part in Nigeria,
they happen in the West Africa. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, that can happen for the most part. Yeah.
You know, that man threw me in a juvenile. I was in the age of 15 years and I was about going for my matric because I jumped my grade 11 from grade 10 because of intelligence. He threw me in there and I was there. And you can imagine, as a girl that has never even stabbed somebody, you can see I've got a mark over here. This mark, I got it.
Wow.
In jail, in a juvenile,
oh
where
my
I
God.
had to fight with him.
At age of 15.
Yes,
That's
where
terrible.
I had to fight with my jailmate to show that I can fight you more than that. I actually fight with the lady. I remember her name was Munteng. She was from Kwakwa. We are from the same state, Free State Province, but she's from Kwakwa and we're in Bloemfontein. And we fought. After that, the magistrate, you know, the way the man was wicked, my file was not even taken to court. It was only when I stabbed that lady, my file was taken to court. And the man now saw many reports from different school teachers, motivational speakers, the premier, the governor, the MEC was writing the place of safety that where is this girl that wrote me a letter about the wrongdoing activities? Yes. And then the magistrate was, we have been looking for this lady. Do you mean she was detained?
Wow.
So I went through a lot. I saw young girls in the age of 13. That's why you see in South Africa, somebody can go pregnant 13 years, 11 years. It's not an issue. But people don't understand where we come from.
So you were about 15 years old when you learned about sex.
Yes, and I broke my virginity when I was 16. It was on 10th of April.
I mean, that wasn't too early.
No, that's not too early.
That wasn't too early.
Yeah, but being a South African, that was way too late.
Yes.
Oh, that's late. Got
Wow.
you. And that's the point we're trying to make here.
Yeah.
That's the point we're trying to make, because yes, Adeola Kusibe, you can ask questions.
Yes, Adiola, you can ask. I'm here.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the thing. By the way, if you want to come on the,
it's one of my comrades on my phone. Mimi, I'll call you back. I'm on live.
Yeah. So if you want to join, if you want to join
on Instagram, Lola,
Lola.
Yeah.
Check it from my friend.
Oh, is that the
LOLAANDOLA? Yeah.
We're talking about the same person, Adeola Olakusibe?
No.
Okay. That's me. Okay, got you. Yeah, Adeola, you can use that link right there, lolaandola.com/join, if you want to join us on the other platform, since we're talking to and you can type it right here in the comments too. We can answer your question. I mean, that's the point that we're trying to make, that from where we're from and a lot of places in the world, not just Nigeria, the conversation about sex comes with a certain level of awkwardness. So the idea that communication has to be learned when we're talking about sex, effective communication, to be precise, has to be learned for most people, because I'll tell you, for us men, we're terrible. It's when when you are rejecting us that when we want to talk about it, and we want to tell you all the reasons why you are being wicked, because you just rejected us, right?
I'm telling you.
So see, that's terrible communication, right? I'm communicating, right? But that's gonna make it drier. That's gonna make it.
It makes it worse.
It makes it worse for you. Now you don't want to do it even more, right? So communication is important, but more so effective communication, and especially if we're talking about sex here, it's gonna have to take. You have to seduce her, right? That means time. That means patience. That means there's a process.
And a passion. It takes a passion.
Exactly. So yeah, I agree with communication, and I have to keep agreeing with that.
People do not understand that we as women, especially males, they fail to. Hi, official lawyer. He's a very good friend of mine. He's in Turkey here and lived in South Africa as well. You know what I'm talking about. There's something about women. Women, we do not come because you are penetrating on me.
Why do you come? Enlighten us.
Women comes like, I'm sorry, you guys are married, but let me speak.
It's okay, please. You have the freedom.
Let me tell you, if I'm with my man and I see him doing something that turns me on, and as a woman, I can come and my man wouldn't know.
No, but that's what we need you to educate us. We know that you need to get turned on. What turns you on? What do we need to do to turn you on?
Let me tell you, women, they come from the brain. They do not come from penetration.
Okay.
Men, they come from penetration and enjoyment of sex. But us, we come from the brain and the mind and the heart. Let me add the heart because it matters as well.
And the heart, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we just want to penetrate everything.
I can be looking at my partner, cannot be at home. I can be in this sitting room as I am, and I'll be like, oh my God.
But how does that benefit us? We're not there. What are you talking about?
That's what I'm telling you. That's where you guys need to learn that sometimes
Teach
when
us.
you force some things, they are being abusive.
Yeah.
Because as your woman, you don't know how many times I have admired you in the sitting room. Maybe you just did one move. And I've already came. That's why it matters to communicate with your partner.
Right.
I mean, how did you see me tonight? How do you feel about me tonight? How was your day? What did you feel? Did you think about me today? Did you feel me today? And your partner that loves you will tell you, oh, babe, there's this moment I thought about you. I even came. And you will know what level of morals your partner is.
Right.
But
so question for you real quick. Question for you, or maybe more like a statement, but it's inside of question, right? We don't. If you tell me that, oh, I was thinking about you and you just came. I'm going to want you to come while I'm there now. We're going to have to go into the bedroom.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Because you just said that. Men are like that.
Yeah,
But that will happen.
That's where I'm
Okay.
coming with communication. How
Okay.
about, baby, what were you thinking about?
Okay. Yeah, because that's a big deal.
When you get your partner to speak on like, oh babe, I was remembering the day you did this and this, and you go on and do similar thing because maybe that day you brought flowers and then there's a kind of kiss you gave, but you cannot just rush outside. Maybe it's midnight, you can't go and get the flowers, but you can try and bring in that same kiss, that same attitude, that same emotion, and you will see her coming again.
I think the problem is people stop trying after they get married. Everything is shut down. They feel like you're now a wife. They have you. They don't have to date you anymore.
And my dear, that is the time to enjoy. That's where people are. You know, people are like confidence. You are so lucky of, okay, you guys know me as Tato. People, you are so lucky of rich men. You are so lucky of handsome guys. You are so lucky of good guys and this. I said, guys, that's not my problem. Me personally, I'm blessed myself. A guy can come in with his money. Yes, I will take. I'm a woman. I've got needs.
Okay.
I'm a mom. And I have to invest. I will take the money. But there is something they call connection and understanding. If I tell you I cannot have sex in this coming 3 weeks or 1 month, how are you going to react as my partner? How about, okay, there's a lot of things, guys. You know, we are in a civilized world. If you are my man and I tell you that, babe, I don't feel like you penetrating in me. How about not you to become, don't get angry. Why
don't get defensive.
Suggest some other things. There's a lot of things
like what?
In the bedroom.
Like what?
There's
oral sex.
No, wait.
What?
Oral sex and womb penetrate. How well does that work out for you? How does that work out for you?
Hey, 2 of you are confessing.
No, because you just said there are other things. So I'm asking like
other things. You know, you can be with your woman. There's a kind you can kiss, you can play games.
You want to cuddle?
Yeah, but men don't stop at that.
It doesn't mean you have to penetrate, because once you mention sex, people don't understand that that's sex have a lot of things involved. Sure. You have to talk that, what I mean, baby, can I penetrate? Most women, they don't like penetration. It is our nature. That's how God created us.
But you know, let me make some point to what you just said.
We are meant to be pet. How about you just kiss me, pour me some yogurt, ice cream, cuddle me, tell me good stories.
Why? Tell me why I should do that. Tell me why I should do that, Tato.
Because that can turn me on than you busy.
Good point. I want you to say that. Good point. I wanted you to say that because we as human beings, all of us, we operate off of pain and pleasure. We move away from pain or we move towards pleasure. Those are the things that, it doesn't matter what your religion is, all of us, regardless. That's what it is. Okay. Now that's in the form of feeling, you know, you good?
Yeah, I'm tapping my legs.
All right. That's in the front. I don't know if she was giving me signal.
No, hey, I wasn't doing that. No, I was just tapping my legs.
So we just in everything in life, right? When we feel like we're gravitating towards pleasure, we'll do more of it. Feeling, we throw the religion thing, all that nonsense that we tell ourselves, we throw it out. When we even including religion itself, is because there's a certain feel good that comes from the security, feeling like when you call on to God, things are going to be good, right? That's the reason why we do what we do, right? So when you are trying to communicate with your man, you're trying to teach him why he should cuddle with you. It's very important to not stop at just cuddle with me. It's very important to say when you cuddle with me, when you speak to me, when you are patient with me, it turns me on and it makes me want to do whatever it is that he wants, because I don't know what he wants, but whatever it is that he wants, you need to communicate that and connect that dot all the way. Because you know why? Because men they tend to be logical. They want to hear that all the way. Because if you say, I just want to cuddle, like, but I don't want to cuddle. I just want to penetrate.
I don't want to come. Especially when
I just want to get off. you know. But if you give them something promising,
Terrible.
right? Now it's not your responsibility, but I'm just teaching you and everyone that's listening that understand that a typical man sometimes need to hear that over and over before they realize that every time I make sure I'm patient with her and everything, like you said, your ex, right? He was that person. Most men are not like that. Most men.
It's so boring, Lola. It's so
He
boring
says
to be
boring.
around a man and he doesn't want to, you know.
Yes, it is.
Like, it's so boring, man. Like I think every lady will vote me on this. That
You want Cordu?
every woman.
You just want to do
like
nothing.
kids,
You want something different
People
sometimes.
think like, oh, my wife. If I touch her, she said, "Leave me alone."
Why is she saying that?
Why is she saying leave me? There's a kind of bed.
See, when you do that, the way most men interpret that when you say, "But why is she saying that?" They take an offense to that. Why does it have to be that means I'm doing something wrong?
So men basically won't touch and cuddle like throughout the day. Some men and women, they're just walking past each other like co-workers.
And then when it's 11
then in the
o'clock,
night, you're pulling your wife's, you're pulling her clothes up. I want to, come on.
Say that again, Taco.
That way.
Sorry.
You dare try it with me, walking like a dead cop inside my house. It's better with you.
Well, you know, Prince earlier said, "I'm not for that." He said we need to slow things down, and then the girlfriend left because of that. Because he's the type of man that wanted to do it every day, you know. But that's so there's a missing gap in the communication there, right? Like you said, I want to have sex, it doesn't work. He needs to understand that it's not the words, right? There are other ways he can communicate that in a way that will make you want it too.
Yeah, and again,
that's missing.
Women, we do mistake, Lola. You know
Hi,
that
Flash man.
You are lacking this passion. You want to be with this man, and you go to the house. You start tying wrapper.
I don't like that. I personally don't like.
Oh,
that.
wait. We're switching topics. Wait. I will.
My dear, if I'm in, like now as I'm talking to you, if you are in your main house, you need to look good.
Yeah, all the time.
So are we switching topics?
I'm MFM now. Let me tie scarf.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, Tato, are we switching topics?
I will tell him that.
Wait, you went too fast, Tato.
You should be waiting for hair scarf.
You went too fast.
I don't like
I need to draw the line. You want to switch topic? Are you educating the women now?
What?
I'm not educating women.
She's just saying.
We are still on the topic of sex.
Okay.
That's why I told you that from the beginning, maybe you couldn't have right sex, you could have right penetration.
Right.
Because sex involves a lot of things.
Okay.
Sex is not about you on top of me. And sex, do you know that I can have a sex with my man and he's not penetrating and two of us will
Of
come?
course. Absolutely. Phone sex.
Yes.
See, my husband has never had phone sex before. Have you?
You don't know me for the first 24 years of my life. What kind of
Oh,
question
you've
is
had
that?
phone sex before. Oh, you've never had phone sex with me.
No, that's not necessarily true either.
I don't remember I was having phone sex.
But you need to try it. How about seeing your husband coming while he's not penetrating?
So I should
Exactly.
so maybe
you being inside her.
no wait. So I should just start driving away right now. Get on the highway and start
No,
driving. So I can have phone sex.
No, sometimes you are away.
Oh, when I'm away, I think we have.
No, we do sexting, but not.
No, okay. She said we
phone
do
sex.
texting.
We
Is
do
that a phone?
sexting.
Do you text without phone?
Wait.
With your partner,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't have to be penetration. I
Yeah.
can look at my partner.
I agree.
Like you guys have a fire because you guys already belong together. You are in that platform of like.
You guys are changing topic. We're talking about people that don't have sex 3 to 4 weeks.
What I'm saying is that even as a girlfriend, I can look at my partner and he can look at me. If the fire is there, it's like, babe, it's coming. And he was like, honey, I'm feeling my own. No, it's coming as well. And it will come out. But you penetrate.
No, sexting is better than phone sex. Phone sex is
That's
weird.
what we are telling you, that you couldn't have right sex here. You couldn't right penetration.
Right.
Because sex, it's a mind and a heart. Sex is not penetration.
Okay, you're hearing it from a woman.
No. You're right.
Okay.
Sex is not penetration, but we're talking particularly.
You know that after you drop this call, your wife is going to serve you dinner.
Listen to me, Tato.
Bye.
Listen to me, Tato.
And she'll serve you dinner. The way you will be eating her soup, you say, "Oh my God, baby, this soup is so nice."
Somebody's senator said off your mic.
Yeah, he actually does that. I'm like, baby, this food is so good. I'm like, yeah, thank you.
There's a lot of things. That's why men, they don't understand when the word behind every successful man there's a woman. It's not about the man.
Wait. Don't say that without completing the sentence.
My dear, if I give you love making without you penetrating on me, and the thing just came out like fire, and you went to your office, don't you know your brain will open?
No, not only that, but you just used me. Am I firewood? But you just used me too. Am I firewood?
No, you also come because you are on that level of
You don't
intensity.
understand what I'm saying.
But you didn't do me a favor, is my point.
That's what I said. I said, how about after all the play, maybe the cats play, the year play. There's a lot of things we play in the bedroom. Like me, if I'm with my guy in the bedroom, I'm like, okay, let's play.
Listen,
play.
stay with me for a second, Tato. Stay with me for a second. Question for you, Tato. Question for you, Tato. Okay, we're talking about committed people in relationships and marriages that live together that don't have sexual intercourse for 3 to 4 weeks. We're not talking about all the different types of sex. We're not talking about all the. I know there are different types of sex. We're talking about if they don't have.
Telling you the
if
reason
they don't
why
have,
some people don't.
I'm asking you now. Question now. No, question now. Wait.
Let me just answer.
No. You won't answer. Let me finish the question. Let me finish the question, Tato. Let me finish the. No, that's not the question. That wasn't the question. Here's the question. If somebody is not having sexual intercourse, what makes you think that they're having other types of sex?
You know why? Because there's no way you will marry me. You say serious marriage issues.
Yes.
Why will you marry me if I cannot be the one to make you come?
Oh, good point. And we talked about this earlier. The reasons why we marry is beyond sex.
Masturbation. It's either you are going hotel to hotel
or cheating.
It's either you have extra ladies or there is another thing. Let me tell you, it's not all the men that cheat by going after women. It's not all the men that do Nigerians, they say it's soapy. It's not all the men. It's not all the men they watch porn and come. Some men, they can just think the same way ladies think and come. Some men, they still
imagination.
Think about, I'm married to Nkechi now, but the way Chiamaka used to give me, the guy will come.
Imagination, baby.
That is why it's a mindset.
And you say that to say, I'm listening.
Do you understand? So that is why what makes people in marriage always have that problem. And that's why you see the highest rate of
divorce
and married men. You see them outside with single ladies. You know why? Because they do not want to communicate. They do not want to learn with their partners. They do not want to.
I told him a story.
Outside.
Yeah.
They don't want to do with what they do outside with their partners, with their main wives or their main husband.
That's true.
You see married women, they go outside to look for sugar boys or bentens. The way the sugar boy gives her a doggy style or left and right, you cannot tell the husband, this is my favorite, because he feels like the husband will say she's wild. Hell no.
You said it. No, she said it.
So what?
When you put your hand in your,
it's the culture.
Hand on me and
but I thought she said they don't have this culture in South Africa.
They think that you're wild if you tell them this is what I prefer.
Yeah,
because
but
I'm
not disagreeing with that.
I'm in a group where women actually say these things. Like they can't tell their husband what they like.
Baby, after that, Lola, they will go outside and say their husbands are abusing them. How about you tell your husband that, love, I enjoy it when you shake me. Shake me before you penetrate. And you'll get what you want.
Wait, shake you?
Or smack my ass.
Yes.
Or tell your spouse
or
what
choke you.
like.
Or choke you.
No, that choking
yes.
thing.
She said yes.
Not for me.
What about handcuffs?
Me, I love the shaky.
You like the choking?
Maybe like finger-wise or whatever.
Oh,
Use
okay.
it on me before you come inside me. Before you penetrate. Tell your partner.
I like the dirty talks, the nasty talk.
Yeah.
Speak.
No, it's not a nasty talk.
I like that.
It's a reality whereby even you Google will give it to you straight back.
Even Google will give you.
Yes. If you don't know how to say
so question for you though.
You are scared to contact Lola and the husband. Go to Google now. Ask Google. How can I touch my woman so that
real life? No, it's true. It's there. It's there.
Yes.
Question for you.
I told most of my friends, official lawyer will tell you that I said you should get your book. Because he was complaining, why is it in Turkey that most girls they want men who pay their rent and buy them and this? I said because the foundation in Turkey was laid whereby sex is money. That's what we are facing here.
Right.
The guy that he makes love to you very well. He's so handsome. He gives you everything. By the end, in the morning, you will start waking up and say, "Give me my money." Because the foundation
transactional. Yeah.
And we that are just 1 year here, the new generation, when we make the love, we look like the stupid ones. We look like we are being used. My dear, you cannot use me while I have come when you were being
exactly. See,
we used each other.
See now you're speaking my language. I'm not firewood. You should use me too.
You cannot use me while I have come. In short, I will grab my handbag, open your door and go back to my house because I have just done one of the most healthiest exercise. Do you know what it takes for a woman to come? I was just telling my husband very well. You have just made me the most beautiful lady.
You feel good.
My baby, I used to have pimples here. You can see I still have the marks. But since I've been taking, they are gone. The guy asked me, why is it that all those pimples are gone?
Stress.
I said, because I'm coming.
Oh, you're coming. Okay. I'm educated.
I said, yes. When I was with you, I don't come. And now I'm in a land whereby I come. He said, what do you mean? Do you mean you fuck around or what? I said, no. I have learned.
No, it's true. I mean, that's a very good perspective that you brought in there.
I said, no, it doesn't mean somebody's penetrating. But I have learned to see different men. I have learned to see that there's the one with muscles that can turn me on. There's the one with stomach. So those kind of things, I look at them and my blood will run so hot and I will come. And now the pimples are gone.
Yes, so.
So what is it? Look at your wife's face now. Just turn your face.
I can see her face. I have 3 monitoring screens in front of me.
She don't have that pimple, because she's spiritual.
I never used to have pimple too, though.
No, she can't see your pimple. She's saying you don't have any.
I actually have one here. Right here. What happened?
You said, well, she's coming. She's coming too.
She's coming. She's coming.
Well, I have to. I'm sorry.
She's coming.
If I don't, so
that's
what's
a good
the
thing.
point?
Sometimes you have to let it. Sometimes you have to let something.
With the hair that comes straight, she gives you the face. She do a natural style. That's Simio. I'm glowing. That style that many women they do only when they are getting married. Your wife do this hairstyle.
Oh, the ponytail.
She keeps doing it. But many women they do
because she's coming.
Only when they are married. Go to my pictures. I have started doing this style with your wife, and everybody will say, "You look so young." I said, "Yes, it's so unfortunate. I'm turning 27 on Tuesday."
Oh,
no, you are 20, you are 21. I said, "No, I'm 27 and I'm a mother of a 2-year-old."
She's turning 25 in about one.
Oh my God! And she looks like she's turning 16.
Confidence. You're making my head bigger. I beg.
She's turning 25 in 2 weeks.
Right.
Yeah.
I wish.
No. You brought some really, really good perspective to the conversation.
Yes.
It's not about the time. I made you come up with a timeline, but the timeline becomes an issue because there are other things going on. We don't like people just don't say I'm gonna wake up one day I don't want to have sex with the person they love. It doesn't work like that. There are a lot of things going on in the background. So and when the man receives that as an attack, it works even further against them because they start getting defensive. Then it even becomes more toxic, right? And that's why I said it's good that we both learn what we can live. If you're here, either you're a man or woman. And so that brings me to my next question for you. If you find yourself in a situation, you feel disconnected, you don't want to, it's not because of the babies, it's not because of medical, but you can tell that something is off. But you also know that you're disconnected from this guy. You don't want him, but you're in a committed relationship with him. How would you handle it?
Communication.
What does that look like? Role play. Show me.
First, I I will communicate with my guy, and when I want to make the communication, I will not go and tie wrapper and come out and say, why you not making love to me? Why you not?
No. Wait. That's the second question. You have enough attention. He has blue balls. You just don't want to have sex with him. You're not feeling it. That's the first question. The one you're answering is the second question. You have enough attention. He wants it, but you don't feel like giving it to him.
I don't feel like giving to it. I will tell him that, baby,
How?
what I just want right now is just to look at you and hold you and sleep. I don't want you inside me. But many women, they are scared to say that because they feel like when they say that, their men will go to another person. Hell no.
Yeah.
No, not just that.
Challenge. Let me tell you something. Men are scared of challenge. If you tell your partner that, babe, I am not in the mood, I just feel like holding you. The man will want you to hold him now, so that you will.
No, I won't hold you. My old self won't hold you. Okay. If I waited 3 to 4 weeks, I have blue balls. Remember that. My old self won't hold you. Okay, because I'm already feeling rejected.
And you are my partner.
And now that's why. But that's the point. That's why I want you. And I won't necessarily want to hold you. I want to hold you in a different way, but not that way. I don't want to cuddle because it's been 3 to 4 weeks.
You want to poke?
Forget 3 to 4 weeks. It's been a minute. I even lost count.
And I'm telling you, I don't want to penetrate. And I'm giving you the reasons.
Now, how do you want me to respond to that?
I will tell you as my guy, I say, why I do not penetrate on you? Maybe probably I feel like you penetrated somewhere and the connection mislead. Can you bring the connection back?
Okay, right. So I would ask you, you don't have connection. Can you bring the connection back? Because me, I want some.
Yes. And as a guy, you will ask me, what is the connection?
Yes.
And I will tell you the connection is that first day when I met you.
Okay.
Why? Can you give me your number? And I gave you my number, and it took you 1 month before you see me, and you waited. And after the 1 month we met, and I took you to a restaurant, we drank a bottle of wine and we ate rice, and then you dropped me at home. And did somebody say,
you always talk like this?
That person know me very well. And after the 1 month after I gave you my number, after 1 month, we met and we went to a restaurant and we ate and we still drank wine. In the process of being drunk and honey, I said to you, please drop me in my place. You dropped me in my place and you kissed me and you left and you waited.
That patience.
And you waited. It's going how many months now? 2 months. After that 2 months, because I drank your money and I ate your money in a restaurant, you were angry. It took you 3 weeks before you could remember me to send me a message and say, babe, how far? And after
so I should remember that now and expect 3 weeks.
It's now 2 months, 3 weeks.
Okay.
I say, babe, how far? Let you try your chance again. I say, yes, love. Come to my house. I cooked pepper soup. You came to my house, and you came to my house. You find me. I was wearing a very sexy lingerie with a bum short or probably something disposable, and I gave you the pepper soup. I gave you champagne, you got high and you were hard, and I'm like, oh, love, it's time for you to head back home. I want to go to bed. And you still left, though. After you left, now it's going 3 months, 1 week, and you were still patient. And then now it's on the 4th month, you have give up on me, and I'll call you and like, how far? Are you home? And you say, yes, I'm home. And I came to your house, and I gave it to you. Like never before.
Okay, so I hear you.
Came to your house, you say,
fantastic.
She's calling me.
You know one thing I note. You know one thing I noticed.
And I will block her. I will show her who I am. I will do this to her. To this girl, she don't chop my money. She don't deal with me. And you drop the call, and I come to you and I finish you. In short, the kind of sex I gave you, no woman have ever given.
It's mind blowing.
And in the morning I want to go, and now you have come now. You have enjoyed yourself. It's like, baby, use this for your transport. I'm like, oh, don't worry, love. I came with my car, and I entered my car and I left. And after I left, two hours later, you are outside my building. Baby, are you home? I brought you lunch. That is when you will know that when I say no sex in 4 weeks, that relax, I'm not in the mood. when you remember the suffer of that time. When you remember the suffer you suffered that time before I gave it to you, very good. You will have patience.
All right. Quick question for you. Quick question for her now. Okay. How would you respond to what she just said?
Wait. Why do you have to ask me that?
I'm asking you. I mean, she just said something.
It's
You agree?
fantasy. It's fantasy that she just built right there. She
Absolutely.
made the guy wait, and that's a mystery one right there.
Right.
The guy will come back, Shan.
Listen, I agree with you 100%.
Because that's what I did to the guy when we first met. He waited 4 months.
Wait.
Right.
Now you wait. Tato, wait. Okay. Now you wait. I was very patient. And I'm going to pull out a few things that men need to learn out of this. Because the way you said it, we didn't learn shit. Okay. So let me help. Okay. Everything you said is accurate. Okay. Even when you're in a marriage, that sense of mystery, building it up, getting into that kind of role play is necessary. And it's cool when it comes from both sides. But if both sides is failing, the men need to learn how to do that. I agree with you 100%. Okay. But it's going to take role play when you live with the person. It's easier when you don't live with the person. You can ask her when she didn't live with me. Okay. It was how do you call it? It was crazy like that. But when we start living together, it's like okay. Life becomes zero. So it takes a lot of energy when you live with a woman to get into that space, to snap out of that entitlement spirit that you just mentioned, right? That entitlement that says, hey, we should do it every day. That's an entitlement thing, right? It takes a lot of energy. It takes education. It takes talking about this from time to time and people plugging in on this kind of conversation before they can get into that space. Do you see the difference? I'll point something out for you. You notice that when you were saying all of that, she was lost in your story.
I was lost. I wasn't lost.
No, I'm saying this to the men now. Okay? This is how women are, right? If you can take her from point A to point B without leaving a spot, without making it about your words, right? Sorry, we are hearing the noise.
Baby, you're making noise.
Just so that we don't blow out people's ears, right? Yeah, so you see what I'm saying? If you notice, she was lost, right?
Excuse me.
I stayed with you deliberately. My mind was still functioning. There's a fundamental difference between a man and a woman when it comes to that. Okay? So a man that will be in a place where they can understand this and own it and say, that's my job to take my wife on a fantasy, right? It's a lot. And it's good for women to also understand that it's not a natural place for a man to be. Especially when they live with you and you're right next to my couch right now. I should take you on a fantasy so you can feel like having sex with me in 3 weeks. It's possible. It's doable. But it's a lot.
One of the biggest problems is that they can be predictable. There are men out there, okay? Men that I know personally, and I asked, do you perform oral sex on your wife? They were like, God forbid. And you want to penetrate this woman, and you just want to do that every time. It makes no sense.
Is that why a woman would wait 3 to 4 weeks? I need you to connect with the topic.
It's part of the reason why a woman, because the sex is boring. It's predictable. It's the same nonsense. And at the end of the day, she doesn't orgasm. It's pointless. When, like she said, if you want to sleep with a woman, you start from mentally, emotionally. Our feelings is involved in that. You can't just bring your thing and say, let me penetrate you because you're my wife. It doesn't work that way. You're walking around each other in the house. You're not even smacking your wife's butt. You're not even playing with your wife. So men don't play with their wives at all. They don't know how to. They are very awkward. A good number of them. And then the point you mentioned, some men, the things they will not do with their wives at home, they'll go and do it outside. They will not experiment on their wives.
Jennifer Bam Bam says, before I go to Jennifer, let me. Wait. Young Sugar Daddy says, but suffering to get sex is not good to your husband. We're talking about committed relationship husband. Just keep that in mind. Jennifer Bam Bam says, someone has waited for me 1 year. I'm sure there are husbands that are waiting for 15 years. They just normalized it. Jesus. They think it's normal. And it's not normal. They're suffering.
Are they waiting,
And
or they are going outside and getting their fix?
No, you need to hear that and let that marinate, baby. I'm talking about a husband who did not learn how this works, and he's just because of his children, he's just like whatever. And
So
I don't know what he
he's
does
not
to
having
cope.
sex.
No, I don't know what he does to cope. But my point is that with his wife, they're not having sex, right?
There are people in sexless marriages. Yes.
Yeah. The story is good. He waited, but this is young sugar daddy. He waited, but you have started it with him. Gets him to know that you are his. Yeah, the story was a really good story. Like really, like in a fantasy world, like my wife said.
It's a fantasy. Yes,
like,
it is.
Like a statue. Wow. Okay, yeah, good points there. But yeah, I mean, Tato, what do you think? How would you bridge what you said, which was a fantastic fantasy journey? How would you bridge that with somebody you live with? If you were to understand that a typical man who goes to work was like, how would you meet in the middle somewhere, like in a real life? Like, I understand it. There's a reason why women read all those crazy books.
Oh yeah,
right?
Mills and Boons and all those books.
50 Shades of Blue. I get it. Okay. But in real life, right? How can we still accomplish that? But be real, because it's really about mental, right? How can we accomplish that mentally? Without being unrealistic?
A thing of sex, even God himself, he couldn't handle it from Adam and Eve. But what I know is somebody said, I've waited for 2 years without sex. I believe him.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why he's so upset about how people take sex in this town that we are. That guy, he's taking it very emotional of how sex thing is being done in this town. But more or less is that, guys, sex, it's a communication, verbal, language, and body-wise.
Mm-hmm. Right. Body language.
And if somebody is your partner, you need to understand the person.
Take the time, yeah, to understand.
I can sit down here and I need sex to my guy. I don't need to start stretching or he needs to look at me and understand that my woman needs me. My man needs me. So people need to learn to communicate about it.
I agree.
And all this 3 weeks, 4 weeks, something is a necessary punishment, because between two people that love themselves, that are strictly married, they could never stay 3 to 4 weeks.
Right.
Then Jennifer said anger.
He said agree.
Oh.
And
anger can cause it
right.
too.
And even when you are on your period, when women are on their menses or period, you get very honey. So you cannot use your period. Because I've seen a married woman.
That's true. That's absolutely true. Now, red lights all day long.
Me on top of my period, my dear, is a lie. Any woman that is on her menstruation, when she see a person she loves, she gets honey. But because we know that we are on that part whereby rejected blood is coming out of our body, you wouldn't want your guy to.
Right, there's that balance there where you just want to hold off. Yeah.
My dear, the first thing is when you start seeing it coming out, the discharge is no more red. You will grab your guy, unless you don't love that man.
Yeah.
If you love that man, you will the way you will even grab him. The man will say, "Baby, no, you're on your period." You say, "No, love, it's finished. It's finished."
Yeah, I would add that maybe not necessarily love, because a lot of married people will argue that they love their man. There is definitely some sort of disconnection.
Yes.
So, and there are phases like that in a long-term committed relationship or marriage.
Yeah.
There's going to be phases where it's just not for both parties, but a lot of time for women where it's just not it. And being patient during that period is part of seduction. It's part of seduction. And being patient if you ever have to talk about it, I prefer not to have to talk about it and learn what is going on emotionally and learn how to fill that gap. I prefer that because it feels better if it's an idea, right? If I feel like I'm manipulated into it, it suddenly doesn't feel good. It just doesn't, especially because I live with her, remember, and I want that love and connection with her, not just sex.
Exactly.
So the truth is that it takes we've learned the bad behavior and we have to unlearn certain things. It's the same thing we did, like you said, when I was chasing you But because of the newness and the excitement, I was willing to. But because the newness and excitement is not there, or newness is not there, things
Which
get.
is not supposed to go. It's supposed to be there forever.
But it goes.
It goes
That's the
because
reality.
people stop
Because
doing
we're
the
humans.
things. No, and people
See,
stop
finish.
dating
Not
each
proper,
other.
man. Not proper. It's not proper. That feeling is not supposed to go.
But I agree with you that it's not supposed to, it shouldn't, but it does for most humans, right? So we should know that it does. And when we now know that it does, we have to put that extra effort in to pull it back. To remember that as human beings, we will get complacent because life just happens. It's not somebody wake up and say, I'm just gonna let it go. That's not how it goes, right? It goes because people just start living, and you start anything you see every day as a regular person, you start taking it for granted naturally. But when you start, remember when we started this conversation, I talk about doing an inventory and start appreciating things that you've overlooked. Naturally, gratitude is not natural to us. Just the idea of thanking God that I woke up, that's not natural. We do it as a ritual sometimes, but some people can't wait to get out of that prayer, right? But if we really think about it, right, we take the little things for granted because they are readily available. God forbid, until you need a ventilator. It's the same issues. So we need to be aware that when you do get into a long-term relationship, there will be a phase, either you or the other person, one of you at least, will get into that complacency phase, and just be aware that it's natural. Let's do something about it, as opposed to hold resentment things and say this person is disconnected from me, or I don't feel this. It's natural that it slows down. That in love butterfly feelings will slow down. It's natural. But when you're aware of it, suddenly the awareness, just the self-awareness of it, is half the battle won. Because then you can put in the effort, like you're mentioning, dating, a little bit of surprise element, the mystery element. You start putting that in. You start doing phone sex. You start doing sexting. You understand the point of doing sexting, not just because your wife is looking to be a hoe. That's not why. It's because it turns on. It shows that you still care. It shows that you're thinking. It's like the little thing that matters, you know.
Why is it wrong for a woman to be wild? A woman should be able to express herself with
My
a
dear, don't
man.
mind these people. I will go wild. If you don't appreciate it, go somewhere else.
Sex is supposed to be enjoyed.
I can't be wild on you.
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah,
Women need
good
to stop
conversations.
fearing to be wild when it comes of making love or having sex, because that's the healthy part of it. As a lady, to men it may not benefit them anything, but as a woman, when you go wild, all your body, everything, it brings out all those sugar, all those extra dirty things that the sweating out, the fat, the being unshaped, all those things. When you sweat out, you get yourself.
Yeah.
So maybe people don't know the benefits of sex.
Because we're supposed to lose all this to become
Benefit
shaped.
of sex. What is the benefit of sex?
She just told you the benefit of sex.
No, I heard that. I thought you wanted to add more.
No, I said that maybe people don't know the benefits of having sex.
They don't know. They think it's about the benefit of sex is to keep us healthy.
Okay, but let me ask you both a question, both you ladies. What is the benefit of sex that you have to communicate to me that I already know? Don't you think there's a disconnect there if I don't know the benefit already and you have to spell it out for me?
Why would you be my partner if you don't know the benefits?
That's a good point. But
firstly, why would you enter marriage without knowing the benefits of sex? Do you think you are getting married to me that you're just gonna climb me and I'll get pregnant for you and born your kids and you just keep climbing me?
It's a chore.
If that's what we did before we married,
you're going to become shapeless.
Let me answer you like a Nigerian.
That you cannot even be proud that this is my woman.
Let me answer you like a Nigerian.
This thing is also meant to keep my wife healthy, to keep my wife stiff, to keep my wife in a good shape. Then you will start doing it in a passion to me.
Yeah, but I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm talking about I'm the one that needs the attention. You're talking about the opposite direction. Okay, we can have that conversation another day. Today, I'm the one that needs the attention. You're not giving me the attention. I have blue balls. Remember that.
If you need my attention and I'm not giving you the attention, just know that it's still the same taking time of me loving you that I took when we first met. It's not that I don't love you anymore.
Mm.
It's not that I don't have a feeling for you anymore. I just want you to bring back that value you used to have on me. Not for you to just think when your dick rise, you can penetrate. No.
Okay.
I want you to still have that value. That's what most women do. When they start, if a woman start punishing you of sex, she feels like you have lost the value. You think
she lost respect at some level.
I'm now you're right. I'm not something like a horse ride, something you can just climb.
Exactly.
Hell no.
So you agree that
a red card, that gave you a red card, from a red card to a yellow card, from yellow card
it gets
to a
worse.
green card.
It gets worse, right?
Yeah. So why women always do that, they need you to recover. Don't get used to it that every 4 o'clock early in the morning you must penetrate because you are.
No, I received that. I received that, Tato. The other side of the conversation, I'm asking you now. I received that. The other side of the conversation now. As a committed woman in a committed relationship, how would you like to be held accountable for when that happens? How would you like that? Or you don't think you should be held accountable, period? These are the questions that I wish they're here. When they start running their mouth, these are the kind of questions they ask. I'm not asking that question because for me, I know the reward system. I know how the reward system works.
Right?
Huh?
Hold me accountable.
Yeah, hold yourself accountable. How would you hold yourself accountable?
Yes, you can hold me accountable.
No, me, I don't want to hold you because that will make it drier. That will make it drier. You won't want to have sex again. You holding yourself accountable. How would you do that when you are feeling like that? You're feeling disconnected.
I will do it by telling myself that, all right, I know that my husband is hard now. You need to do it. You can go into the bathroom and do soap or whatever you want.
Soapy. Nah, that's wicked.
Forget the joke. Let me tell you the most important part.
Okay, yes.
But I am doing this for him to know that I'm his woman. I deserve the feeling. I deserve the passion. I deserve, let me tell you, the craving. Women like a man to crave for them. If you don't crave for me and start feeling that I'm a crayfish, my brother, it's not possible. You can't just on the stove and put me there like a fish oil. Nigerians, they call it a
so
oil.
again, you're talking to the effect that I'm firewood. Remember, you're using me too. You're already talking now that I'm the one begging for something.
There is no way you will take a dry firewood and put it in a fire. It will not burn. And there is no way you will take a dry firewood, you put it inside water, it will not get wet.
Okay.
There is no way you will take a firewood and throw it where there's no fire, where there's no water, on a dry sand, it will not get dry.
The problem is I'm not firewood.
My point is, anywhere I throw you as my partner, you must follow. Because if I throw you inside,
I'm still waiting for the holding yourself accountable part.
If I throw you on a dry couch, you must dry. If I throw you on inside water, 2 of us must swim. So if I'm your partner, I'm telling you that, babe, I'm not ready. Let's give it a space. Wait. But you wait.
Yeah. Patience is key.
Okay, so Tato, I'm still waiting for the part where you hold yourself accountable.
My brother, I'm healing the relationship and making it stronger.
Wait. Are you paying attention?
I'm paying attention. What do you mean?
Okay, the reason why I want you.
Would you rather she have sex when she's not in the mood?
No, that's not the point.
That's when it becomes a chore.
No, that's not the point. The point is this. Okay. The point is, I hear you completely. I'm receiving what you're saying as insight of how I can seduce you. And most men don't know how to do that. I know exactly what to do. Let's say my wife is the one saying all this. Huh? Wait. Wait now. Listen. Wait. If you, for everything you told me right now, I do receive it because I believe that there is truth. In fact, one of the quotes that I made today was that there is truth everywhere. It's just never really obvious. And that's something that men don't understand. When a woman is telling me that, fuck you, you need to figure it out, which is what you said since the last 10 minutes, by the way. If a woman is telling me that, that's insight for me that I can use. Okay? That I can use to get what I want. But there's a certain level of wisdom you need to go to be able to do that. You understand what I'm saying? But most men are not going to get that. They're going to receive what you just said as, you're not going to hold yourself accountable. Because I asked you, how would you hold yourself accountable? And you're telling me that I should go and do something. That's what you just said. And so it's missing. And the reading between the, when men say, I can't read your mind. Wrong. You need to learn how to read our mind.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? I'm just letting you know, I'm shining light on it that, see my wife, how she's sitting next to me, and I'll keep telling her, are you here with me? Right? Because that's just her personality. She likes to have fun. She likes to, it's butterflies everywhere.
I like
she will get lost in that story with you. She will.
You don't have a choice, so finish.
She will get lost. She will get lost in the.
Not to write a book or come online. It's your property.
Oh, you know what I did with the book? All the story part. She told all the story, and I talk about the lesson part. Right? The same thing is about me learning what our strength is, and then using that to create something. You understand what I'm saying? But most men will not do that. And I want to say that so that most women will understand. It will help them with a little bit of empathy, right? Yes, you want to tell them to go and do soapy, and you should be happy. I'm letting you know that there is not sex that he wants with you.
If you are married, there's a time I will tell you, baby, I don't want you to penetrate. Can you just touch me? I'll come. So if I tell you touch me,
so how would you argue against Benga Afolabi that just told you are selfish?
That your dick should stand and you penetrate. If I tell you, baby, hold me, I come.
Okay. So now with what you just said,
when your dick is standing and I will be like to you, and you'll be like, baby, I want to, and I will say no.
So Tato.
In the beginning, that touch me, I come. I didn't tell him.
So Tato.
Fuck me or make love.
So Tato, with everything you just said, argue with Benga. Make a point against Benga Afolabi. He just said something. With everything you just said, can you bridge the gap? Bridge the gap.
He said I'm selfish.
Bridge the gap.
I said you are selfish because you only want to come. You don't want me to come.
All right.
So I like.
I rest my case. Benga, or your.
I love it.
That's called OYO, on your own. On your own, yeah. But the beautiful thing about what we're saying is that it's the reality of life. Yeah. And I want men to step up. That idea that you're not going to learn how to read the mind, you have to learn how to read the mind.
They need to learn how to satisfy their wives.
No. You can't satisfy her if you don't read minds.
If you don't know her.
You know? And it's gonna feel unfair when you don't. And it's gonna feel unfair when you don't find a way without her need.
It's true.
Without her help, if you don't find a way to connect it to the reward system, why would I need to wait this long to figure out? I'll do something first. I'll wait 3 weeks, and then suddenly I'm supposed to be happy. Where's my happiness? If you don't figure that out on your own, maybe then you don't deserve to be a leader in that relationship. Maybe you should let her lead. Maybe she will help you figure it out. Because when you go try to sleep with her at night and you're just trying to penetrate and she should just figure it out, maybe there's something you're missing.
I will arrest you in the morning.
They're raping me up.
They're raping you. You're lucky. Yeah, I think you're lucky. You know why I think you're lucky?
Why?
Because I feel like if men were in this type of conversation a lot, they should be, by the way, this is how they should be learning, right? You would have heard, you would have seen a lot of them coming for you.
Like that. Even you are my friend, but I would tell you can't just slam Lola like that. It's not good.
Hey. Again, you are saying I'm firewood. She's using me too.
Thank God he does not slam me like that. Honestly, my husband is he's unique. Let me just say that.
Is why
he's different.
So
yeah.
Lucky.
I'm lucky.
But Tato,
try to South Africa woman.
But Tato, what about the part that she uses me too? I'm not firewood. Be nice.
She can't use it. I know her very well.
Thank you, Tato. I don't.
So I'm firewood.
We use each other.
That's what
Do you know that when you say I need you to wait for 3-4 weeks, that's you're abusing me. You're using me. Do you know I can receive it that way?
Then you know what? If your wife start telling you wait for 3 weeks, just know there's something you're not doing right. Go back to
Okay,
the
good
things
point.
you used to do
Okay.
when you are looking for her. Go back to the things that you used to give her when you people met. Go back to those things that used to make her smile, and she will even be the one to remove the
Preach.
bra and the pants before you touch.
Preach.
Then you will know where the problem is.
Preach.
Look at Benga Folabi said, pick my call. Yeah, go and answer him. Oh, yeah. I mean, is that your man? He said you are selfish. Maybe he knew something that we don't know. maybe he knows something that we don't know. See,
My dear, if you touch your wife like this, she say, "Oh, then leave me." There is a problem.
There
You did
is.
something.
There is.
There
Absolutely.
is a problem. If your wife starts
What is the
telling you
problem?
when you know that you are again all those things where they turn them on, all those things where they tickle them.
Just pump your brakes. Basically, you're telling him he needs to pump his
It's
brakes
just
and
like
figure it
your
out.
wife cook for you when you eating the soup. Once you open the soup inside, you just see only fish. No cow leg, no shaki, no intestine, no beef, no chicken. Just know there's a problem. Because I'm a woman. If you give me 1,000, I know if I reach market, how I will use 10.
That's a good
buy
point.
shaki,
That's a good point.
5, buy cow leg, 5, buy chicken, 5, buy beef, and make sure that you have a nice meal. But once you open the soup, let's say maybe you're opening something like obono soup. Now, inside is only fish, you see. Just know there's a problem.
Yeah.
Right.
Because you're supposed to eat obono soup, obono, and balance. You know what I mean? Just like when you are Yoruba, you eat amala. You know a man that eats amala.
I love amala. Oh my God. I need to go eat amala.
Did you notice? You notice
what
one
you're
thing.
supposed to collect after shower.
Hey, let me point this out, Tato. One of the things I love with my wife, right? I keep pointing
Young
out.
sugar daddy say, I just left.
I know. You know, one of the things that I
Young sugar daddy is a very nice cook.
young sugar daddy, I
It's
know, right?
crazy.
Young sugar. You know one thing I love about my wife, and I like pointing it out. When you mention Amala, she just went into Amala straight.
I love amala.
Because it's not only about, people think it's only, let me tell you, even in
Yeah.
South Africa, we do have that growing vegetable.
Mm.
And when you are getting married, all these elderly women, they will gather you to the secret room and tell you the secret of that soup. But men, they don't know. They think they are chopping it to have a big stomach, and after they eat it, they shower and they have energy to pump.
All right, enough man bashing, okay? Thank you.
Yeah. This is not bashing, man.
Enough.
Our African men need to be educated, period.
They need to, my dear.
They need to be
If it's a
educated.
white guy, as if he's a white man now, you say, oh, love.
You know what?
I don't feel
You know what,
you say,
Tato?
oh, my love. Okay, it's okay. But can I? And in that 4 weeks, you don't want to make love to you. You'll be getting you flowers, chocolate, perfume.
They'll be
good show,
And then
seducing
they go-
you.
good massage, good this. I beg, tell
It's true.
African man to do that. You say, now flower will go chop for inside this house. Go and give me food.
Anyway, Tato, we're going to round up like this. We're rounding up right now. We're going to round up like this. I agree with you 100%. Men need to learn 100%.
Yes.
But they need to listen to this full session with all the jokes, all the humor. You need to understand the context. They need to understand it. And I think the only lesson that I would probably make sure that women really understand from this point is that just keep in mind that the men that you want are a certain way. There is a certain way that they are, and you need to learn that as well, especially if you're going to retain that power in a way that will work in your favor. That power to be able to seduce them and stuff like that. If you want to use that in your favor, then you should learn how they operate. And we're going to let you go so that you can go and answer Mr. Gbenga Afolabi.
There's no any Mr. Benga. It was because of life. I need people to understand. I'm in my house. You guys know my house. You know, I sell African food stuff, so people do come in my house to buy something and go.
Oh, they do.
Oh,
Wow.
wow. Nice.
Awesome.
It's nice having you confidence. Please
Keep
come
it
more
up.
often. I love
Keep it up.
Thank you so much, guys.
your commentary.
Keep it up.
Take care.
I'm here anytime. Any question, you know me, I have the answer.
Yes, so
No worries. And you know me, I will pull you back and correct you.
You can't finish it. If they say they can't give you 4 weeks, balance.
Yes, so
Fine. That's true. Figure it out. You're the leader. Absolutely, I agree.
Figure it out.
Yep,
Don't go and beating the woman and taking
Abby.
it and raping your wife. It's not good.
No, it's not
Rape,
right.
okay, no.
It's not right. It's not right.
All right, take care.
Thank you, confidence.
All right,
Take
yeah.
care.
All right, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, lots of hidden lessons, and that's what I like about these sessions, because we can crack jokes back and forth, and inside those jokes itself is where the truth of the matter is. Because if somebody has like a perspective, right, and you shut that perspective down, you can't learn.
Of course
You
not.
just going to get stuck in limbo, and that's what a lot of them do when they get defensive.
Right.
Even when she tries to bring it up or something like that, the key thing is don't get defensive. It's insights. It's an opportunity to learn. It's data collection, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not going to be overnight. Be patient with yourself
Be
too.
patient.
You know, so
Seduce your wife back.
yeah,
You should remember how you got her.
yeah,
Get her back that way. Especially women. Most women are ride or die kind of women.
right.
They will be there for you through thick and thin. So if you're going through that, you should know. You should be able to go back and look at where you're coming from.
Yeah.
What is wrong? Like Confidence said. She said
Yep.
it all. I agree with her because I hear about these things a lot. When you're in a woman's group and you hear what some women go through, you be like, eh?
Yeah.
Ah,
So
wow.
I'll leave with this. You done?
Yeah, so you had me here for 3 hours.
No, you had me here.
I need to eat
Because
some amala. I'm
every time
hungry.
they start a story, you're like, oh my god, we're going
What?
to have. Anyway,
I love the story.
no, they were good. If she feels heard, a typical woman, not all women, but there's a very good chance, a high chance your woman is like that. If she feels heard,
That
she
legs
will
will
get
open.
wet.
Okay.
Everything will open. You can penetrate her
Will
brain, you
open.
can penetrate her body, but she needs to feel heard, and that's a process that takes time. But once you figure it out, then it's a compounding effect. Then you start having more often. But you have to be patient, because patience is part of that story.
Yeah, don't be
Patient, yeah.
entitled. Be patient, okay?
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much
All
for
right,
hanging
guys.
out.
Thank you, guys. We
See you
had
on the
a
next one.
blast. We had a good time.
Yep.